without a voice. A game with a very strong content warning. So be aware of that going into this. They also warned us that we won't necessarily see every single thing that needs to be content warned about in a single playthrough. So we are going to tentatively try and navigate through this game while avoiding the most objectionable stuff. So far, it's been the story of an exiled princess in a forest who meets a beautiful woman who we personally believe may be some kind of forest spirit, like a dryad or something. So there's some kind of sapphic feelings going on there. And also some foot stuff. We got some close-ups of some feet last time. So far, it hasn't been too bad. Let's just hope it stays that way. Hey, Party with Danny. And thank you, Probably Neil, for the follow. Yeah. How's everybody's week going, by the way? It's Friday for me, so end of the week. I don't know how, I guess some of you, your Friday's just starting. But, yeah, how's everybody's week been? And how's your weekend gonna go? Anybody got any plans for the weekend? Well, we get the game going. Shout out if my little PNG tuber ends up covering too much of the game. No, I need to... Hang on, how do I fit this on the screen without blocking too much? Okay. Let's get going. Turbulent week. Looking forward to a chill out. Nice. Yep, this should be somewhat chill. There is a treasure that can't be bought, no matter how long it may be sought. It is something priceless, yet free. I speak, of course, of an apology. Day 4. After a restless sleep, Cassidy awoke to the sun's harsh rays. She stretched, arching her back to release the tension there. Finally, her gaze went to the front door. There was a distinct lack of a letter beneath it. They must have come in the night. How diligent my brother's agents are. Maybe. Or maybe our lady friend stole it. She suddenly seemed pretty, upset with how we treat our brother. You are a blind fool. All at once, memories of her argument with Elowin, that's her name. That's our lady friend who may be a tree spirit, Elowin. All at once, memories of her argument with Elowin nearly knocked the wind out of her. I cannot believe I divulged such secrets to someone I barely know. Cassidy was puzzled, both at herself and at Elowin's odd behavior. What a shock that was? I'm sure she had her reasons. Well, yeah, she probably has her reasons. Whoosh. I don't know why it makes that whoosh noise every time I make even the most innocuous of decisions. It acts like everything is, like, life-changing. Elowin appeared so upset. I wonder if she experienced something similar. Perhaps my blind optimism reminded her too much of it. I'm sure she's only worried for me. I seem to inspire that breed of pity in others. I can understand that. I'm afraid I often come off as quite helpless. I must ask her about her own life. We know so little about each other. It's no wonder she would react that way. One can only draw conclusions based on what one already knows. Presently, there was a knock at the door. Given how long it had been since her last shipment, as well as the fact that Elowin was far more likely to announce her presence with her words, Cassidy could draw but one conclusion. She waited nearly 10 minutes before opening the door. It was protocol. She knew not who her brother sent, and it was unclear whether they knew whom they were delivering to. The royal family of Verimir had a distinctive look to them. It would not do for too many people to know where she was, know who she was, or that a former princess dwelled here. When she finally allowed herself to open the door, she found a large wooden crate, not unlike the previous ones. Sitting atop the crate's contents was a sealed envelope. Cassidy instantly recognized the severe cursive. To my sister, I am glad to hear you adjusting well to life at the cottage. Doubtless there are many things that challenge you, given your former life, but we must all make the best of things. I know that you have too much time on your hands, so I have been sure to enclose more books for you to read. You may one day be called upon to marry well for the advantage of king and country. As such, it is of the utmost importance that you keep your mind sharp and your hands unidle. Wow. Thanks, bro. You're gonna marry me off one day. Love to hear it. The last part seemed to have been written later, as the script looked slightly different. I think of you often. I worry about you more often still. Be safe in the forest, and keep to yourself. Though I know that is difficult for you. Yep, I'm just gonna ask you to stay well away from me, brother, considering some of the content warnings we got at the beginning of this game. Please await my next letter. I remain your loyal brother, A. She read over the letter many times, trying her best to glean affection from it.
Alexander was always a little awkward. I'm sure the last bit was added with some reluctance, after one of his advisors chastised him for the content of his letter.
Really? Great. She smiled and ran her fingertips along the part that read, I think of you often. No, I don't need to run your fingers over that. But then she remembered the sentence about marriage. How thoughtful? Or is this why he kept me alive? Let's think that.
Is this why he kept me alive? Could this be the reason he kept me alive? Only to be an advantageous pawn?
The thought ate away at her, and Cassidy fought back tears. Her brother had never been so blunt about his intentions before. The letter did not raise her spirits, as much as letters from Alexander usually did. The implication of it weighed on her.
Of course, I must be useful to the kingdom somehow. Why else would I be alive? If I can be of use, even as a disgraced princess.
Cassidy sighed. She could not finish that thought. All of a sudden, Cassidy wanted nothing but to see Elowen again.
I will seek her out. I must.
The other woman's presence would certainly be a salve for her current mood. That was her reasoning, and she swiftly acted upon it. Cassidy set the crate away, inside the cottage, and then set out. After a long, fruitless walk about the forest, she arrived in front of the wisteria tree.
Elowen.
Princess.
I am no longer a princess.
Just because you no longer live in a castle does not mean you are no longer a princess. Cassidy was reminded of the word marriage once again. Elowen was right. She was still considered a princess, insofar as a princess could be useful. A long silence passed between them. Both were conscious, no doubt, of the argument that had transpired between them, an argument they had not yet resolved.
I am sorry.
Elowen's eyes widened almost imperceptibly, but Cassidy, staring into the other woman's face as she was, took note.
I should not have burdened you with my circumstances to begin with. But you were only worried for me. I should have been more sensitive in my explanation.
No. Cassidy was struck by the sight of Elowen's soft smile as she laughed. The former princess's heart fluttered, and her brother's letter was promptly forgotten.
It is nothing. it would seem that I, too, am quite the fool.
The air thusly cleared, the two women were able to enjoy the rest of their day together. They whiled away the time in companionable satisfaction. That night, Cassidy drifted off to sleep with a full heart. The strings of love are oft unseen, though wrapped around you they may be. When tied fast, none can come between, nor challenge humble fate's decree. Day 5.
Ah, how beautiful it is today.
Indeed. Elowyn had surprised Cassidy early that morning, arriving at her front door without warning.
Though Elowyn didn't even knock, silly creature. I wonder if she would have left if I hadn't seen her and opened the door.
The thought bothered her, almost as much as the notion that Elowyn might not yearn for Cassidy's company the way Cassidy did for hers. After some time spent lingering, both paralyzed by indecision, they decided to go on a leisurely nature walk. For the next few hours, they strolled through the forest together, stopping here and there to pick berries or mushrooms.
That one is poisonous. Do not touch it. Right.
Cassidy drew her hand back in mortified alarm.
It would not do for your lovely skin to be marred by poisonous spores.
Cassidy hazarded a glance at the other woman's face, but Elowyn looked as unflappable as ever.
Poisonous?
Are you sure, or how do you know so much? Let's go with...
How do you know so much? You know so much about the flora and fauna here. How did you ever learn it all?
I've lived here many years. In that time, I have witnessed many interesting things. I have learned much, letting the people who pass through educate me. However... It's been a solitary life. I've seen much, but experienced little.
Elowyn.
I've long felt like someone on the outside, looking in on a world I could never touch. There was a melancholy in Elowyn's countenance that Cassidy had not yet seen, nor even thought the woman capable of. The Elowyn she knew was dignified, taking charge of her emotions that none ever showed.
I have not known her long, of course. Perhaps that was merely how she comports herself around those of little acquaintance. What made you decide to reach out to me?
Reach out?
That is...
She thought back to their first meeting, the way her own heart had leapt at the sight of Elowyn. And Elowyn had known all about her, had apparently been watching her for some time.
You didn't have to be sitting under the tree that day. You could have continued watching me from afar. But you found me. You spoke to me. And I'm so glad she did. But I fear she might call me silly if I say such a thing.
I thought you delicately beautiful. The matter-of-fact way that Elowyn said this struck Cassidy. She was flattered, of course, yet part of her was also worried. Beauty was not something lasting. It would be a shaky foundation for any relationship.
My old bones have yet to move from this place in centuries!
Hi, Big Hattie. And yes, it's games, but luckily this is quite possibly a game for perverts. So at least it's not a hypocritical game. We did experience foot stuff last time, so...
If it had been a courtier complimenting her beauty, Cassidy might have taken it better. So how's your week been, Big Hattie? How you been going? Yeah, I saw you've recently been back to streaming, so everyone go check out Big Hattie. Although you are going to be taking another 2-week break soon, presumably. But yeah, how's your week going? How's your Friday going? And got anything planned for the weekend? But this was Elowyn, a woman of whom she was becoming increasingly fond.
Thought? That's past tense, is it not? What do you think of me now?
I think you exceedingly beautiful, but dainty and delicate you are not. You are far from being the poised princess I took you for. Cassidy winced and let her mouth form a little pout as she turned her eyes to the ground. You'll try to get a stream in during the weekend somehow, but otherwise it'll be 2 weeks again. Okay, well that's something to look forward to. Let's give Big Hattie a big ol' shout out. How do I do this? There we go. Yeah, go check Big Hattie out. You've been playing Terraria. I assume you'll be playing Terraria again on your weekend stream? You seem to have been really enjoying it, and you found quite a few new people coming in to watch you play Terraria. You guys were talking quite a bit about it. It was lovely to see. You fine but tired? Tomorrow you'll hang out with Susanna, and on Sunday you're going and getting the kids after your daughter's birthday party. Ah, okay. Well, happy birthday to her. And you're enjoying it at the moment? Yeah, well that's all that matters is
Yo-wo.
what's enjoyable at the moment. Thank you for that, bot. Not really appropriate, but okay. Cassidy winced, and her mouth formed a little pout as she turned her eyes to the ground.
As I thought. It is to be expected. Someone so graceful as Elowin would of course find me lacking. You were not what I expected, but I believe that might be for the better.
Hang on, let me just check that I'm not covering up. Okay, I'm covering up the name, but I'm not covering up too much. I'm not covering up any of the text. But trying to get cancelled. Slowly, Cassidy tilted her face up, her eyes growing large with disbelief.
For the better? You are always exceeding my expectations. I wonder if the other people I have allowed to come and go would have, as well, had I let them so near. I wonder if the other people I allowed to come and go would have, as well, if I had let them so near. Well, It may be selfish of me, but I'm truly happy you let the others go. I'm glad that I'm the only person you allowed close. I'm sorry, that makes me sound so ugly. No. No uglier than I.
Ooh. Where'd all this come from? Suddenly covered in leaves and stuff. Her hair's turning into leaves. I sense a tree spirit coming on. And she's got branches coming out of her boobies. One coming out of her shoulder and one coming out there. Suddenly, in Cassidy's eyes, Elowin looked so very haggard. She peered through the polished veneer and saw a woman who was tired and hungry. Oh? Now's the time for an ooh-woo. What?
Are you alright?
Sus? Oh, I'm afraid I turned that one off. No one was using it, Big Hattie. I turned off that command. Let's have a look. What commands do we have active? I do go through and cull some of the commands sometimes.
Reggie!
Yep, we do still have Reggie. In a blink, Elowin appeared to be the same as always. Oh, her boob branches are gone. Her little crown thing's back to normal. No more hair turning into leaves.
I am fine.
Even so, Cassidy could not shake off the feeling that something was off.
Are you quite sure? You seem tired.
Elowin was silent for a long while.
Yes. Perhaps I am tired. Forgive me, I'm not used to the midday sun.
It occurred to Cassidy that she had never seen Elowyn in the morning before.
Could she be something of a night owl? I hadn't supposed it. And here I invited her to walk with me, underneath the full blaze of the sun. How thoughtless I am. Elowyn. Yes? Why don't you stay with me at my cottage tonight? What? Well, I'm worried about you, and it can't be easy, being a woman and living alone.
She knew this
I
best
can't
of all.
take much more of this.
You can't take much more of this, Big Hattie? Is the cringe really that bad? I feel like we haven't got that cringe yet. We've still got a long way to go, I think, before things truly get bad.
She knew this best of all.
I would be much more at ease if you would come with me tonight. Let us break bread together and while away the night in comfort.
She was not expecting Elowyn to accept. Not Elowyn, who had reacted so strongly to an invitation merely a few days earlier. And yet...
All right.
It's a video game, that's all the reason you need? Okay.
Really? Would it be better if I returned to my home? No, I was worried that you would not accept. I realize that it's not very dainty to be so forward.
At this, Elowyn finally smiled. Cassidy's heart felt akin to an acrobat at the sight, doing backflips and pirouettes in joy.
It would be my honor to accompany you. It may do us both some good.
Ooh-woo? As ever, Cassidy was far too excited to hear the latter. As ever? Huh? Looking forward to a night with her new favorite person, she had already changed course and started along the path home. Oh, kitchen. This is a new background. Cassidy closed the front door behind them and went to the kitchen to put away the plants they'd gathered. Whoa, this is a very big kitchen. She can barely see out of the windowsill. And look at the width of this counter compared to them.
Is there anything I can help with? Leave it to me. Just have a seat and rest. You really do look tired. All right.
While she put her affairs in order in the kitchen, Cassidy couldn't help but think back to the things Elowyn had said.
She said that she likes me the way I am. That's so kind.
She felt a deep sense of warmth and satisfaction, the likes of which she had not felt in a long time. Cassidy returned to the living room a short while later, 2 cups of tea in hand.
Oh.
She found Elowyn asleep, slumped on the divan.
Poor thing. She must have been exhausted.
There was a loose strand of hair in front of Elowyn's face. Cassidy reached down and tucked it behind her ear.
She looks so innocent when she's asleep.
Chuckling to herself, Cassidy let Elowyn rest and passed some quiet time reading by the other woman's side. I'd remove that other from that sentence. Chuckling to herself, Cassidy let Elowyn rest and passed some quiet time reading by the woman's side. Night soon fell, and the pair supped together. What, we didn't even get her waking up? Okay.
Elowyn doesn't eat very much. No wonder she's so thin.
Elowyn, unaware of being observed so directly, delicately sipped a glass of water.
Are you full? I am satisfied. You eat so little. I'm worried for your health. I eat enough. I do not like doing anything in excess. I see.
Her tone left no room for argument. After dinner, Cassidy cleared the plates and things away and began to get the room ready for sleep. The cottage was not large. Her parlor had to double as her bedroom out of necessity. It was all well and good for a single person, but now that another had been added, Cassidy became acutely aware of the lack of space.
There's only one bed.
I do not mind sleeping on the divan. I already did earlier.
Once again, I'm sorry that I didn't wake you up. You just look so at peace.
You must have woken her up at some point. What do you mean you're sorry you didn't wake her up?
I could not bear to wake you.
I'm embarrassed to have allowed you to see me in such a state.
I only fear...
No, it is nothing. I would gladly sleep on the divan or on the ground. I'm not choosy.
Oh, that won't do at all. You're a guest.
Cassidy gulped. Truth be told, she had one other, much more preferable arrangement in mind.
Oh? We could share the bed. There's room enough for two.
I notice you do not offer to sleep on the divan.
Ah.
Struck by her own lack of graciousness, Cassidy bit her lip, cowed into silence.
This isn't... They're not related. The brother still hasn't shown up yet. This isn't incestophilia yet.
Soupy Doorman, but how you been, Soupy? How's your Friday going? How's your week been? And, how's your weekend gonna go? Got anything planned? Struck by her own lack of graciousness, Cassidy bit her lip, cowed into silence.
I am only teasing. If you do not mind being so snug, I will be happy to share the space with you. Nothing would please me more than to be close to you. I mean, yes, wonderful. I shall fetch another pillow then.
She flew out of the room to retrieve a spare pillow from the closet, face burning with embarrassment. Whoa, that is really snug. There is really not enough room for two people in that bed. There's not even enough room for the two pillows to sit, like, side by side. Why did you even bother with a second pillow? You're just clearly going to be using Elowen as the pillow. You're thinking of going to see The Whale on Sunday. What is The Whale? Is that a movie? Giant sculpture? Is it just a whale? And you're going out drinking tonight, you think? Oh, that's exciting. Are you going out to drink with friends, or are you sharing a drink called loneliness because it's better than drinking alone? It's the one about the fat guy with the guy from The Mummy. Brendan Fraser? And a fat guy. That could be anyone.
Do you have enough space? You're not too cramped?
I am fine. Truth be told, I do not mind the proximity. There is a faraway look in Elowen's eyes. Brendan Fraser is the fat guy? Oh. I'd been alone for so long, until you came. We've known Elowen, what, 5 days? Less than a week. This is moving quite fast. Surprised you don't know, it's been all over the internet for months. I saw Brendan Fraser, like, accepting, like, an award or something. I don't know, I seem to recall Brendan Fraser crying recently or something. Like, everyone was, like, really applauding him and stuff. I just thought, like, I mean, I guess he must have been in something for everyone to be, like, reevaluating Brendan Fraser. Yeah, for this film. Okay, I didn't know anything about the movie. I just knew that Brendan Fraser was back in the zeitgeist. Now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Anyway, back to the Yuri. Yuri? Yuri? Actually, I don't know how that's pronounced. Yuri? Like that?
I've been alone for so long, until you came. How did you come to live here in the forest? Where's your family? Oh.
Let's not pry too much. She doesn't want to talk about it.
Perhaps she cannot say.
Whoosh.
Perhaps it's not that she does not wish to tell me, but that she cannot. She may have some circumstances that prevent her from speaking on the subject. Was it impertinent of me to bring it up? I'm sorry. Is it difficult for you to tell me?
It is a trying subject. I am not quite sure where to begin. She took a deep breath.
I've lived here all my life. Once I was not alone, but...
Elowen paused and sighed.
You remember the wisteria tree? Of course! That's my favorite place in the entire forest.
Have you noticed that there are no other wisteria trees around it?
Now that you mention it...
What's the whale supposed to be about anyway, Soupy Doorman? I mean, obviously you haven't seen it yet, so you don't know it for sure, but...
Now that you mention it...
She never had thought about it. But as Cassidy searched her memories, she realized that Elowen was correct.
You're right. I wonder why that is.
There is an even older wisteria tree, deep in the forest. But now those are the only two left, and they are so far from each other. So it is with me.
Cassidy found her choice of words puzzling,
But nodded.
It's because she's the spirit of the wisteria tree, Cassidy. She's a tree spirit. You saw her hair turning into leaves. Into petals.
Also weird that her crown can come off. Also, she wouldn't have pajamas, would she? Did Cassidy give her these pajamas, or did she... somehow, I don't know, convert... Is she sleeping in her normal clothes? I once had siblings. They have long since departed. So I don't really have a family here anymore. Others have come and gone, as I said, but I could not relate to them. I watched them from afar without entering their lives, and did not mourn them when they left mine. And so the years went by.
You'll never be alone again.
Elowen's eyes widened. Cassidy thought she might start crying, but she only smiled sadly.
I see.
Cassidy snuggled a little bit closer to the other woman, as if to show meaning through actions where words might fail. And so they passed the night together, in pleasant company and warm conversation. When the sunshine blazes down, I soon begin to wish for rain. But when you've gone away, my dear, I soon long for the sun again. Day 6. So you're telling me these two ladies got together and slept in the same bed, but nothing more happened between them? They haven't even kissed yet. Cassidy woke alone, with a cold space beside her.
Again, she's gone in the morning. What could she be doing so early? It's highly suspect. Is it?
She could no longer ignore the gnawing feeling of dread. Perhaps she would ask Elwyn upon their next meeting.
Still, what a wonderful night that was.
Each precious memory had been carved into Cassidy's heart. She yawned and slowly pulled herself out of bed. With or without Elwyn, she would have to get on with her day. Cassidy hummed a little tune to herself as she cleaned up and prepared breakfast. Sitting down at the table with her bread and morning tea, she glanced at her stationery set, left by the vase.
A lot has happened. Perhaps I should write Alexander a letter.
Actually, I don't know what to do here.
We write him a letter, we might end up talking about Elwyn. That would be bad. We don't write him a letter, we might get him worried. And he might come here himself. Let's not write him a letter.
She shook her head.
That can wait. I'm more worried about what Elwyn is up to now.
Though always lonesome before, the former princess's life now felt so much emptier without Elwyn's presence. Though she should be accustomed to such solitude, she could barely concentrate on her usual chores.
To think that a few days could change a person so.
In a lull in her activities, Cassidy's gaze went to the window. Deep in the forest, her beloved wisteria tree stood. She could see it so clearly in her mind's eye.
Elwyn is like that tree, or I wonder if she is there. Elwyn is like that tree, because she is that tree. Come on, Cassidy. Put the pieces together.
Let's say Elwyn is like that tree.
Elwyn is very much like that tree. She said as much herself. So beautiful and haunting, and alone.
The other woman's words from the night before weighed heavily on Cassidy. She passed the rest of the day peacefully, but with a sense of unease. The next day came, and still no Elwyn. Cassidy was left with nothing but her own thoughts.
Go out and find her, you fool.
Also, the next day came, so this is day 7. And thinking of Elwyn perturbed Cassidy greatly. In the last several days, the woman had embedded herself into Cassidy's life like a thorn.
I never expected to become close to another person again.
She thought about Elwyn and the things the other woman had said. The hours spent together that were so few, but felt an impossible eternity.
I never did ask about her feet. Why are her toes always curled? Elwyn, please show me your feet. Elwyn, let me examine your toes. Elwyn, what do your feet taste like? Despite how she looks, she must be much older than me. She has a proper way of speaking, and she always says she lived in the forest a long time. And with the intricacy of her clothing and her manners,
something did not quite add up. Elwyn did not seem like people much, did not seem to like people much. Certainly, it did not seem her presence in the wood, despite how long it had been, was known to many.
Alexander most probably would not have sent me here if it was known that a beautiful woman was living alone in this very wood.
Why? Has Alexander had to keep you away from beautiful women before? Is this a known problem with you? Where did Elwyn come from? Why was she alone? she still had no satisfactory answers. Thinking it all over,
Elwyn is strange, or Elwyn is unearthly? Unearthly or strange? I mean, there's certainly a mystery about her. I'm not sure. I mean, a tree spirit's kind of as close to as earthly as you can get. I don't know. The difference here is ambiguous at best, is what they could mean. Let's go with Elwyn is unearthly. Elwyn is unearthly.
Cassidy suddenly realized that all of the things she knew about Elwyn pointed to something potentially horrible. She'd been so overcome by the woman's peculiar charm and beautiful looks that she had overlooked something. Cassidy shook her head. Perhaps she was jumping to conclusions too quickly.
I must be a little lonely, that's all. I haven't seen her since that night. She can be blunt, perhaps, but I believe she means well. I cared deeply for her, and she...
Remembering the last several days,
Elwyn cares for you, right? Doesn't she?
Elwyn is truly monstrous?
Actually, let's try and think back on what we've experienced with Elwyn. I don't know, she hugged us close when we were in bed and shared some of her life with us. Does she care about us? We do have this neutral option. I guess we'll go with... Hang on, this feels like when I want to save at. Let's save there. And then return. Let's go with Elwyn cares for me. Elwyn cares for me.
Cassidy's gaze fell upon her latest letter draft to Alexander sitting upon the table. She had started it the night before, after a day spent all alone. Her thoughts naturally drifted to her brother.
If I leave here, if one day Alexander allows me to leave, what else awaits me? To marry a man. When he knows full well that I cannot bear to do that.
Oh, so Alexander does know. That's interesting. Also, let's put that menu away. The lid on the box of her memories slowly opened. Oh, interesting. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Veramir, a pair of twins was born. Oh, is Alexander our twin brother? It was a fortuitous event. The sister, being the elder, was marked for queenhood. All expected bitterness and resentment from her younger twin, but there was no such thing. Alexander absolutely adored Cassidy. They spent almost all of their time together. The only others Cassidy spent her days with were her beloved handmaidens, handpicked from noble families to serve her. As Cassidy grew, it became more and more apparent that she could not lead. She had little interest in politics. She much preferred socializing, spending her carefree days with her bosom friends. She and Alexander made a pact that when she became queen, he would rule as regent. She could not abdicate without making the kingdom appear weak, but she would defer to him in all matters. The promise was made. To prepare for the day that he would become regent, Alexander went abroad to study, begging the king and queen to allow him to go. It was begrudgingly granted. Though he was gone but a few months, it was hard on his sister. She wrote him letters daily, and he was more than happy to return those gestures in kind. Yet, as time went on, she wrote to him less and less. She was finding solace in her handmaidens, he thought. All was well. During a holiday, Alexander returned to the castle for a surprise visit. He missed his sister too much. Surely she, too, had longed to see him. Imagine his surprise. Indeed, his utter horror. When that doting brother discovered his beloved older sister in bed with another woman. Dun dun dun! What a twist! The handmaiden was banished. He would not speak of this to another for his sister's reputation, for his own reputation. You were lonely, weren't you? He asked.
Yes, so unbearably lonely, and she was so sweet to me.
He cancelled his studies abroad at once. They were, again, every day together. Still, his sister's inclinations could not be ignored. A coy glance to a maiden here, a lingering touch there. He could not spend every minute with her as much as he wanted to. But as their parents talked of strategic marriages, of the twins' duties, Alexander was overcome with dread.
Me? Marry?
Oh, me? Marry? When my elder sister might steal my bride away? What? I don't know if... I mean, if... Okay, that's an unusual fear to have. Not my first thought. I'm afraid of, getting married in case I'm turned into a cuckold by my sibling. Is an interesting fear to have. More than that, it was unbearable to think of her married to some man. A man who would be king. In the meantime, more handmaidens were quietly banished.
Well, see, the quiet banishing, that's a problem, because now you've got these handmaidens out there gossiping. They know the secret, and you've now sent them out there, out into the world. So they no longer have any loyalty. In fact, they would feel quite a lot of resentment towards you. So they're going to be spreading that rumor around.
And just when Alexander thought he might go completely mad, the unthinkable occurred. The twins' father, the king, dropped dead in the middle of dinner. She would become queen, his sinful older sister. Oh, so he does hate us. Oh, okay. So it is all his fault. It was not her fault. Other women were drawn to her like moths to a flame, and she had a deep loneliness that could not be satisfied with anything but constant contact. She loved everyone but him.
I mean, even if she was straight, she wasn't gonna love you. You're her brother. Not like that, at least. She wasn't gonna love you.
And she would be queen. It was with great surprise that Cassidy went before the Parliament of Barons. Their decision was swift and decisive and cruel, a vote of no confidence.
Why?
Princess Cassidy of Veremere, you stand accused of immoral acts. Her blood ran cold as her charges were detailed. Alexander had not spoken a word of it. Of that he was sure. He had promised. Yet, with every handmaiden forced out, gossip followed. The young prince, so salacious and hot-blooded. Everyone just knew what was going on.
I mean, as long as the handmaidens weren't talking, I think that the assumption would be that it was the prince getting it on with the handmaidens. But I don't see why the handmaidens wouldn't talk, so...
To become pregnant out of wedlock. What a scandal, huh?
Okay, so the assumption was that it was the prince that was getting it on with the handmaidens.
No one ever knew that not a single one of the maidens was ever with child. Every one of them was sent to the countryside for a period of confinement that would never end. No one but they two knew the real truth.
They two, as in the handmaiden and Alexander, or... what, huh? Because I feel like the handmaidens would know the truth. There's definitely more than two people who know a lot of information here. You've got Cassidy, Alexander, and then, like, the numerous handmaidens. This is why you just gotta execute your handmaidens. That's what I always say. Execute, execute, execute. You gotta be cruel and swift, because an enemy wounded will come back twice as hard. I think that's Machiavelli, right?
Then how? Do you deny it? Can you possibly deny it? A word, gentlemen. All eyes were on the prince. Surely he, so personally affected by the rumors, would want her gone most of all.
Huh? Okay.
The punishment for what she stood accused of was death.
Wow. Death?
Of your regent? Of your...
Wow.
Surely royalty would be above the law. Yet, it was not death that the prince suggested. Exile, in a forest far from the castle. She did not know better. She had been corrupted by outside forces. They could not be so callous as to sentence a young girl to a cruel death. The barons were troubled. But the words from he who would be king were powerful. His elder sister had not inherited all of the charm and charisma. And so it was decided. And Cassidy wept grateful tears. Her beloved brother, he who had all the reason in the world to blame and despise her, he'd saved her life.
Blame and despise her? What for?
Good lord. Cassidy, of course, knew not of her brother's true thoughts and intentions. But that is no reason for you to remain ignorant of the full truth.
Well, thank you for that, narrator. Thank you for filling us in. So Cassidy doesn't necessarily know everything that's going on. But thanks for filling us in. Is a political marriage truly my only means of escape? If I can be useful to the kingdom in any way, is that better? Will my life no longer be considered a waste? Alexander.
I will trust in you and wait? Let's not trust in him. We know he's kind of fucked up in the head.
Did you ever truly love me? Is the precious younger brother that I once knew completely gone? Are you truly the one who has been writing me these letters?
One negative thought spiraled into a dozen. She let out a long sigh. Her thoughts had taken her on a not so merry chase.
If I dwell on these thoughts, there will be no end to them.
She brewed herself a cup of tea to calm her nerves and began reading a new book. From time to time, her eyes went, somewhat nervously, to the window. And so, evening fell. While Cassidy sat on the divan, contemplating whether or not she wished to go for a walk, the door to the cottage burst open. Oh! You're looking, beautiful today, Elowen. Your, booby branches are, quite severe today. We've got one here, one there. Don't know where this is coming from, maybe from her back? One coming out of the shoulder. Got a big old branch down here. Is that your skin peeling off? And you've got thorns on your little crown thing. Your ears have turned pointy? There was a monstrous-looking creature in her doorway. It breathed deep, ragged breaths. You must leave this place. It was only when she heard the monster's voice that Cassidy realized this was Elowen. Yet she was no longer the Elowen whom Cassidy was familiar with.
What are you saying? It is not safe here. What?
Elowen grabbed at Cassidy's arm, her nails digging into the exiled princess's soft flesh.
Ouch!
Come now! Protesting loudly all the way, Cassidy was dragged outside. Cassidy had no earthly idea why Elowen was behaving this way, why she looked this way.
What does she mean it's not safe?
She began to fear that this was a trap. one that had been previously laid and was now snapping shut.
Stop this!
After a long while of walking and pleading with Elowin to listen, Cassidy was finally able to yank her arm from the monster's grip.
You come to me like this with no explanation? You come to me like this with no explanation and expect me to follow you? Like this? Do you even know how you currently appear? What kind of monster are you?
Elowin froze in place. For several seconds, she did not move. Then, finally, she slowly brought her hands up to her face. She appeared to be looking at them for the first time.
So you find me disgusting, do you? Monstrous?
Cassidy quickly regretted her rash words.
I should not have said it like that. It was not very regal of me. Perhaps there is an explanation for all this.
I mean, she doesn't look that bad. I think she's prettier like this. Well, maybe not the thorn crowns. That's kind of scary looking. And I guess I'm kind of curious how exactly these booby branches work. Especially there's this tiny little one that comes out of her shoulder and goes back in. Yet when her gaze drifted to Elowin's countenance, she could feel nothing but revulsion. Their eyes met. Cassidy recoiled in disgust. Suddenly, Elowin began to shake.
Elowin?
She thought the monster might be crying, but... Elowin was laughing hysterically. She doubled over, clutching her sides as she laughed and laughed. Then she looked up once more and met Cassidy's gaze. Her feigned gaiety ceased immediately.
What a fool I was, to think that you could understand me.
Cassidy felt a stabbing pain in her abdomen. It burned. It was agony. She turned her gaze downward and saw that Elowin had impaled her with her arm, now somehow sharp as a blade. That you could love me.
I was right. She's... crying.
Cassidy's heart still beat for a short while after that. She was dimly aware of something clawing, rummaging through her entrails. She was dimly aware of the sound of something eating. Where is her heart? She said I must devour it to be free. I beg you, Mother, release me. Tears and blood mingled on two women's faces and became inseparable. And then, there was no one there but a monster, and the corpse upon which it fed. Monster, monster, where dost thou roam? Hast thou a heart? Hast thou a home? Human, thou art monster true, so criticize me not. I will chew thy dainty bones, and leave thy flesh to rot. Dining as lovers do. End. Wow. So I guess this is what you would call a bad end. Huh. Well, we fucked up. We fucked up, gang. Let's reload from that last save we did. I think we only had one choice after that, which was where we saved. Oh no, we did. Okay, remembering the last several days. Okay, well let's go the opposite direction. Last time we said, oh yeah, oh look at that. The little leaf is yellow. I'm guessing that means that we've picked this choice before. That's cool. Okay, so remembering the last several days with Elowin, we could think nothing, or we could think Elowin is truly monstrous. Let's go with that. Let's go the extreme opposite. Seeing as we picked Elowin cares for me, and yet somehow ended up being impaled by her because we made a bad choice of words when she revealed her true form. And to be fair, she is kind of monstrous. Well, I mean, I guess technically most games do, most visual novels do track that these days. They don't visually show it though, because that's how like the skip function works, where like if you click on the thing and it's like text you've all read before, it'll just like auto skip through it. So I'm guessing it's using some kind of system similar to that. But yeah, it is nice to have it visually confirmed. That way I don't have to think about or keep track of it myself. And yeah, I think it's fair to say that Elowen is truly monstrous, considering she ate our heart last time. That was pretty close to what a monster would do. Just give all the dialogue by default and just get to the porn. Just get to the incest already! Cassidy's gaze fell upon her latest letter draft to Alexander sitting upon the table. She had stared at it the night before, after a day spent all alone. Okay, and it's also showing the yellow thing here, so I guess if we click auto... No, that's not it. Oh, skip, right, next to it. Okay, yeah. Oh no, turn that off. Let's still not trust in Alexander just yet. Let's skip him.
Alexander, did you ever truly love me? Is the precious younger brother that I once knew completely gone? Are you truly the one who's been writing me these letters?
Okay, let's skip through this. Oh, and we ended up dead again. We may be limited in what we can do. Uneat my heart, say you'll cook me again. I'm afraid I don't know what song you're referencing there, Big Hattie, so I can't sing it for you. So we tried the top one and the bottom one. It is possible that the problem is that we're not waiting for Alexander. Maybe we can try that next. Okay, we read all this before. Let's skip. Tony Braxton's Unbreak My Heart. Not familiar with it, I'm afraid not. Okay, did you ever truly love me? And skip. And it looks like she eats our heart again. Okay. Unbreak, yeah. Okay, let's say Elowen cares for us. Okay. But now, we will trust in Alexander and wait. You'll link it for my later consumption. Thank you. She knew the truth, perhaps, yet she was afraid to accept it. Without her love for her brother, her loyalty to her kingdom, she was nothing.
Alexander, I trust you will do what's best for me and for Varamir. I will await your decision.
She could not think of Elowen, however, without feeling a twinge of guilt. She let out a long sigh. Oh, it's turned to yellow now. Are we back on the same track? And so evening fell. Oh dear. We may be stuck. Yep, looks like we got eaten again. Okay, let's say Elowen is truly monstrous. And trust in Alexander. No, looks like we've gotten stuck there. Let us load from where we started off at the beginning of the day then. It's really cool how it does every single line of like dialogue. It'll tell you whether you've read it before or not. So this is beginning of day 4. There is treasure that can't be bought, no matter how long it may be sought. I speak, it is something priceless, yet free. I speak, of course, of an apology. Day 4. How far back were we? Oh, but this is just after the argument. They'd had an argument the day before, and they're going to make up after this. Cassidy was puzzled, both at herself and at Elowen's odd behavior. Well, last time we said, I'm sure she had her reasons. This time, let's say, what a shock that was.
What a shock that was. I thought her a refined, elegant personage, but her rage was palpable and quite unseemly. I must ask her about her own life. We know so little about each other. It's no wonder she would react that way. One can only draw conclusions based on what one already knows.
Presently, there was a knock at the door. Okay, this is the shipment arriving. Skip through. Yes, then our brother sends us a letter about, and sending us books to make sure we're smart for when we get married. Okay, and last time we said, is this why he kept me alive? This time, let's say, how thoughtful.
I'm sure that Alexander does not wish me to live the rest of my life here. How thoughtful of him to find some way for me to escape exile. Even if it is through a political marriage, I must say, I'm not very excited at the prospect.
The letter did not raise her spirits as much as letters from Alexander usually did. The implications of it weighed on her. And we read all this. And then Elowyn and Cassidy end up making up over the argument they had the day before and go wandering around in the forest, going for a walk. And Elowyn has just warned Cassidy not to touch something because it's poisonous. Last time we said, how do you know so much? This time let's say, are you sure?
Are you certain it's poisonous?
I have no doubt. I have lived in these woods for a long time. There was a melancholy in Elowyn's countenance that Cassidy had not yet seen, nor even thought the woman capable of. The Elowyn she knew was dignified, taking such charge of her emotions that none ever showed.
I've not known her long, of course. Perhaps that was merely how she comports herself around those of little acquaintance.
What made you decide? That was totally the wrong voice. That's my narrator voice.
What made you decide to reach out to me?
Reach out? And yeah, we've read all this. They decide to sleep together. Oh, and now Cassidy asks, what happened to your family, Tree Girl? Last time we said perhaps she cannot say. Now, let's ask, why the hesitation?
It's a simple question, is it not? Why does she have such trouble talking about it? Though I suppose my own situation was not so simple to speak of. Has your family gone away?
Elowyn, with her mouth in a grim straight line, stared at Cassidy.
It is a trying subject. I'm not quite sure where to begin.
She took a deep breath. Yep, we've read all this before. About there's one other wisteria tree deep in the forest. Okay, this definitely seems like a significant point where we get to change our behavior. This might be our escape. So we've got a lot has happened. Perhaps I should write Alexander a letter. Last time we said no. We were worried that writing a letter might bring Alexander here, because we want to try and avoid Alexander as much as possible due to some that big content warning about incestophilia being in this game. But I guess this time let's try writing Alexander the letter. My baby, she wrote me a letter. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum.
It's important that my brother knows what goes on in my life.
After finishing her breakfast, she set herself to the task of writing to Alexander as usual. Yet her heart was not all in it. Her handwriting was sloppy. Though always lonesome before, the former princess's life now felt much emptier without Elowyn's presence. Though she should be accustomed to such solitude, she could barely concentrate on her usual chores.
To think that a few days could change a person so.
In a lull in her activities, Cassidy's gaze went to the window. Deep in the forest, her beloved wisteria tree stood. She could see it so clearly in her mind's eye. Last time we said Elowyn is like that tree. I guess now we'll wonder if she is there? Hi, Neat. How you been? How's your week going? How's your Friday going? And, How's your weekend gonna go? Got anything planned?
I wonder if she's there now, somewhere in the forest.
Also, what is that emote? Onion. Oh, Onion? Yeah, from Rue Orion.
You doing good? That's good to hear.
She passed the rest of her day peacefully, but with a sense of unease. We are playing Without a Voice. We are an exiled princess alone in a forest who's met a beautiful woman who's a tree girl. And we seem to have a thing for beautiful women, so... You know, things are getting close. The next day came, and still no Elowen. Cassidy was left with nothing but her own thoughts. Oh, okay. That's very cute. So this is after they've slept together. Oh, wait, when I say slept together, I mean literally they slept side by side. Well, kind of one on top of each other. I don't mean that they knew each other biblically. And thinking of Elowen perturbed Cassidy greatly. In the last several days, the woman had embedded herself into Cassidy's life like a thorn.
I never expected to become close to another person again.
She thought about Elowen and the things the other woman had said. The hours spent together were so few, but felt like an impossible eternity.
I never did ask about her feet. Why are her toes always curled?
Yeah, I'm still not sure about the feet thing, how that relates to being like a tree spirit. That's what we believe the beautiful woman who lives alone in the forest is some kind of tree spirit. Actually, we know kind of now, because we've had a bad end a couple times, where she ends up trying to save us, but then we call her a monster, so then she kills us and eats our heart. So that's what waiting for us if we don't choose our words more carefully.
Despite how she looks, she must be much older than me. She has a proper way of speaking, and always says she's lived in the forest for a long time.
Thanks for the spank, Neat, but you can't spank me. You just spank Big Hattie. Playfully.
And with the intricacy of her clothing and her manners.
Something did not quite add up. Elowen did not seem to like people much. Certainly, it did not seem her presence in the wood, despite how long it had been, was known to many.
Alexander most probably would not have sent me here if he had known that a beautiful woman was living alone in this very wood.
Ah, this choice again. Last time we said Elowen is unearthly. Maybe that was too far. Maybe that's what pushed us to calling her a monster. Let's just say Elowen is strange.
She is rather strange. Then again, there's nothing normal about my situation either. This only means that I have more things to discover about her in future.
Cassidy shook her head. Even if Elowen was a tad strange, Cassidy knew that there was more to her than that. Wasn't there?
She can be blunt, perhaps, but I believe she means well. Remembering the last several days...
Oh, we no longer have the option to say that Elowen cares for us deeply. That's interesting. Why did that happen? Was it because we wrote the letter to the brother, or because we said that she's just strange rather than unearthly? I guess we'll say nothing. Be neutral about it. Cassidy thought of the letter she had written and sent to Alexander only yesterday.
If I leave here, if one day Alexander allows me to leave, what else awaits me? Is a political marriage truly the only means of escape? If I can be useful to the kingdom in any way, is that better? Will my life no longer be considered a waste? Alexander,
This is different as well. We've said, I will trust in you and wait. But before it was, did you ever truly love me? But now it is, how long must I stay here?
How long must I stay here in the forest? Will I forever be here, atoning for my mistakes?
She let out a long sigh. Her thoughts had taken her on a not-so-merry chase.
If I dwell on these thoughts, there will be no end to them.
She brewed herself a cup of tea to calm her nerves and began reading a new book. From time to time, her eyes went, somewhat nervously, to the window. And so, evening fell. Cassidy was sitting on the divan, enjoying a warm cup of tea as she read the latest book her brother had sent her. It was a darker tale than she was accustomed to. The tale of a tragic young mermaid. Oh, that's new. We didn't hear about a mermaid before. It seemed to be a fairy tale from a faraway land. Certainly, Varamir had simpler, happier stories. Or perhaps those were the only ones she'd been allowed to learn.
Goodness, every step she takes feels like walking upon knives?
Oh, so it is The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen.
How dreadful! How could this author be so terribly cruel?
Suddenly, the front door to the cottage swung open, without a knock or warning. Swung open? Not burst open? That's different as well. Cassidy dropped her book in alarm.
Hey, Elowyn. You're looking beautiful today. Definitely not looking like a monster. Elowyn doesn't normally look like this. This is the first time we've seen her in this form.
In the story, at least. We've seen her like this in previous playthroughs.
But those ones all ended with her eating our heart, so...
There was something dreadful standing in the doorway.
A monster!
You said that out loud? God damn it. We're already fucked. You called her a monster immediately. Cassidy, you idiot. Cassidy muttered this under her breath, overcome by fear and awe.
It is not safe here.
Yet no matter the appearance, Cassidy would never mistake that voice. Melodious, she had found it not long ago. Beautiful, she had thought its bearer until this very moment. She would be hard-pressed to describe Elowyn as beautiful now.
What did you say?
There is a large army approaching from the east. They... Well, at least you're explaining yourself a bit better. They wear our colors. Well, that's a good thing, right? They're our army. We want our army with us, right?
Alexander!
Cassidy could not help but gasp. The monster nodded.
I'm afraid so. You must stay with me.
No spanking you. You will be spanked just as much as anyone else around here, Big Hattie. I'm the only one who can't get spanked.
You must away with me.
Cassidy bit her lip.
Alexander would not harm me. If anything, they must be here to protect me.
Yeah, you don't need to bring an army to kill a single princess exiled alone in the forest. A single assassin would be enough. Would suffice for that job. You don't need an army.
From this monster?
Oh dear.
Yes, of course.
Quickly grasping the situation, the ex-princess calmed herself and tapped into her many years of diplomacy lessons.
I will come right away. Then, would you mind waiting for me outside? I will gather my things quickly. Yes. I won't be but a moment. Of course.
The monster turned and left through the still open door, his movement slowed and measured as always. As soon as Elowyn was outside, Cassidy flew forward and slammed the door shut.
Cassidy?
Ignoring Elowyn's sad, feeble voice, Cassidy locked and bolted the door. For good measure, she dragged the divan in front of it. The door shook as Elowyn tried to enter, but would not give way.
Why? How could I possibly heed the words of a monster? Who knows what you will do to me once you have me outside? She must be a demon, here to corrupt me. It is just as Alexander said to the barons. I allowed your beauty, your charm to corrupt me. I have sinned, but I will sin no longer. Why? Begone, monster. Darken my doorstep no more.
Elowen said nothing in reply. But then, wordlessly, the monster ambled towards the windows.
Oh no, I didn't think about blocking those.
But the monster made no move to enter forcefully. It just stood there with the same blank look on its face. In some ways, Cassidy felt that was worse. Had Elowen moved just enough to follow her to her words to the letter? To darken the doorstep no more? Oh, okay. That's a very weird, very literal way of interpreting this moment. It seemed like something she might do. The thought made Cassidy's heart ache ever so slightly. And the night passed like that, with Cassidy pressed against the door in fear, and Elowen standing in place, still as a tree. Wow. Watching. That's a hell of a night. Eventually, after what felt like a lifetime, the sun rose.
It's finally morning. If the army truly is coming, I wish they'd get here sooner.
The day breaks. Cassidy looked to the window in alarm. Could it be that Elowen hadn't slept either? Elowen stood there still, looking even more haggard than she had the night before. The monster's gaze was unfocused. It seemed not to be looking at Cassidy, but rather through her.
I have failed. I could not understand the most important thing. I could not convey my love without a voice.
Ooh, name drop! That's the name of the game.
Without a voice. What does it mean? Still not sure, but they said it. And so this wisteria must wither in the harsh light of seventh day past. Seventh day past? Interesting.
So you only have 7 days to convey your love? So that means maybe after first meeting your love? So does that mean she fell in love with us before she even made herself known to us? She decided that this would be the woman she would love? Before Cassidy's eyes, Elowen crumbled into wilted wisteria petals and dust. The monster, the woman, was no more. Deep in the wood, a wisteria tree, once adored by a maiden, withered and died away as well. When bargain is struck, its terms must be met, else take on your fate, and more suffering beget. Ash to ash, end. Huh. Okay. Let's load that again. Okay, no. That's not the one we want to load. We want to load from earlier. There is a treasure that can't be bought, no matter how long it may be sought. It is something priceless, yet free. I speak, of course, of an apology. Day 4. After a restless sleep, Cassidy awoke to the sun's harsh rays. So we had an argument with Elowen the night before. Okay, let's try and be sympathetic, but not call her unearthly, but also not send a letter to our brother and see where that takes us. Skip ahead. Let's be negative towards our brother. How do you know so much? Perhaps she cannot say? Sleeping together with her? Let's not write a letter. Last time we asked if she's there, but Elwyn is like that tree. Let's say Elwyn is strange rather than unearthly. Okay, we can still say Elwyn cares for me. We didn't have that option last time when we called her... Why did we have that option? Oh, because we wrote the letter, is why we did... Okay, so we get that option now.
To marry a man.
Oh, okay, and now we get the backstory of Cassidy sleeping with all her handmaidens.
Alexander.
Well, let's make a save here, because...
Did you ever truly love me? Oh!
What's new? Cassidy awoke suddenly from an impromptu nap. Hang on. Okay.
If I dwell on these thoughts, there will be no end to them.
She brewed herself a cup of tea to calm her nerves and began reading a new book. From time to time, her eyes went somewhat nervously to the window. This is where we started reading The Little Mermaid last time in the Dust to Dust ending, but that's not happening now. And so evening fell.
Oh!
Cassidy awoke suddenly from an impromptu nap. She frowned at the book in her lap, still open on the boring page she had left off on.
I can hardly recall what the book is about. How unlike me.
Yet she knew the reason. She was still distracted by thoughts of Elwyn.
It's evening now. I wonder if I go into the forest now. Might I...
The front door suddenly burst open.
Please, pardon my intrusion. There is... an army approaching. I do not like the look of them. I fear for your safety.
Despite her strange appearance, Cassidy knew it was Elwyn immediately. Those piercing golden eyes, that long hair. She was alarmed, yes, confused, but the concern that was clear on Elwyn's face overtook any other questions she might have.
Ooh, this sounds good. This sounds good. We're not immediately disgusted at the sight of her. She looks different, but that is her. Those eyes. There must be some real danger. Surely there is some reason for the way she looks. I'm certain she'll tell me. But for now... All right, what should we do? We? Yes, you are with me, are you not? You believe what I say? I do. I trust you wholeheartedly. Do you?
Elwyn's breath seemed to hitch, most probably from the fear she felt. That nervousness permeated her entire being. Cassidy noticed this, and, having noticed, there was no way that Cassidy could fear Elwyn, no matter how she appeared.
Aw, that's good, that's good. Do you love me?
It was not the response Cassidy expected. But deep down, she knew that this was no time to hesitate, to demur. Cassidy looked Elwyn straight in the eye.
Yes, I love you.
It was important that Elwyn know that.
I see.
And so?
And so the frog has turned back into a dashing prince?
Cassidy smiled warmly.
Now, will you finally tell me what is going on? Oh, the army. No, not that. About you.
No, the army's more important. Get to somewhere safe first.
Yes, you deserve an explanation. I was, until but a few days ago, a wisteria tree, the same one you often visited. I have lived in this forest for hundreds of years, mostly alone, but at some point, I developed a spirit. I was able to observe the beings that passed through my life. Many humans came and went. I was lonely, but I was all right with the way things were. I was a tree, they were not. I was not to interfere in their lives. What changed? You and your silly ranting, your singing, your awkward couplets, that sad look you got in your eyes as you gazed at the horizon. I was smitten. Even after you realized that I wasn't so dainty as you believed? Yes, perhaps I come to love you even more for all your flaws, though I do not see them as such. I had to speak with you. I had to become human and be with you. I was consumed by that wish. And then, one night, a little voice whispered to me, "Will you strike a bargain with me? If you fulfill the conditions, you can become human." Who was it that whispered to you? I am not sure. A god, perhaps? Or a demon? It mattered not. I took the bargain. I was given 7 days. In 7 days, if you fell in love with me, I would become like you. But in that time, I was neither tree nor human. I was not given human emotions. My human-like legs caused me great pain. With each step, it felt as if I was treading upon knife points. And every morning, I needed to take in the purest of sunlight to survive. Ah, that's why I never saw you in the morning. Yes.
Cassidy was tempted to ask Elowin more, especially about the other side of the bargain. What would have happened had Elowin failed? You're gonna bonk Hattie, are you? Neat. But there was something in the way Elowin skirted that topic that told Cassidy not to ask. Let's put that menu away as well. Perhaps it was better that she not hear.
One day, when Elowin is ready, no doubt she will tell all to me. But there is something else still to consider now. Oh, you said that there's an army approaching. Yes, the morning after I spent the night with you.
Suddenly, Cassidy too was embarrassed.
Ahem. That morning, as I was leaving, I noticed a man crouched outside your cottage looking in.
Oh shit! Oh shit! No wonder there's an army coming. Our brother's spies. Our brother's spies have seen us sleeping with another woman, but it wasn't like that. I mean, it was like that, but it wasn't. It wasn't as bad as it looked.
That morning, as I was leaving, I noticed a man crouched outside your cottage looking in. Ah, he must have been one of my brother's agents. Huh. My brother has full reason to suspect me of something untoward. I see. That man may have alerted your brother. And now he's sending a regiment here to collect me. Oh dear. You do wish to return home, do you not?
Cassidy laughed in self-derision.
Had you asked me that a week ago, I undoubtedly would have said yes. However, I cannot return to Verimir. There is no Elowin there. Alexander would never allow you to come. I fear we would never meet again. Cassidy.
It was the first time Elowin had said her name. Cassidy did not let that escape her notice.
I will not go, Elowin. I do not want to be without you.
Elowin nodded.
All right. Then there is only one thing we can do.
She explained her plan to Cassidy, who accepted it with a few adjustments. The soldiers arrived the next day to a frightful scene. In front of the house, Cassidy lay sprawled on the ground. There was blood everywhere, a knife protruding from her abdomen. Oh, good plan, Elowin.
Get Cassidy to kill herself, and then she can't be taken away.
Hi guys. A group of soldiers inspected the body, leaning in for a closer look. What is the meaning of this? The princess is dead. Huh. No doubt off by the lover we heard about. What? Wow. So you would... Why would you involve an army with this? It would have taken like 2, maybe 3 people to come retrieve Elowin at the most. The harlot deserved no better. Still, I do not envy the man who tells King Alexander the news. They proceeded to argue over whether or not to bury the body, ultimately deciding that it was well above any of their pay grades. Oh yeah, I'm sure the king will love that news followed up as well. Also, we didn't bury the body or bring it back. Once their investigation was complete, they left the place.
Pwah!
Cassidy inhaled the biggest gulp of air of her life.
That was close. I thought my heart would stop.
She heard Elowin laugh from nearby.
It's not funny. I never dreamed they would get so close.
They could have buried you, you fool! Or taken your body back, as you would expect of, like, a princess. To be returned to, like, her homeland, to be buried. This was a very terrible idea.
Still, it's good they did. Now there can be no doubt in their minds that you are deceased. The only question is, what shall we do if they come back? That is precisely why we must now enact phase 2 of my plan.
Yeah, because someone's definitely going to come back for the body at some point. Even Alexander himself might come to see it.
Your plan? Come now, let's not split hairs. Phase 2 is entirely my idea. Of course, as I have not heard of it. Phase 2, we go on a trip. A trip? Yes. Have you never been anywhere but this forest? Yes, you have never been anywhere but this forest, correct?
Well, someone's gonna come back to collect the body and investigate the scene some more. Maybe search for the murderous lover? I feel like King Alexander isn't just gonna let this go. So they're gonna come back and find that there's no body here anymore. I don't know if they're gonna just assume that, like, an animal from the forest took it, because I don't know if this is the kind of forest that has, like, bears or wolves or anything in it.
Well, that's true. Wouldn't you like to see the world with me? And once we've had our fill, we can return here. I'm sure after enough time has gone by, they will be fully convinced of my death.
But, I mean, we'll still look like the princess. You said that the royal family have a very distinctive look about them. And even if, like, the delivery people saw you, they would know that you were the princess. I feel like returning here ever again would be a terrible idea. Fire? Maybe, oh, burn the house. Oh, that would actually be a good idea. I mean, it might burn the forest down. I don't know if we want to do that, but that would not be a terrible idea.
There will be no reason for my brother's agents to return, and we can live here in peace. Yes. Yes, I must say that sounds absolutely lovely.
Cassidy took Elowin's hand in hers.
Elowin, you know, all my life, I only did as my parents wanted, and as Alexander wanted. I had resolved myself to being trapped forever. Yet now I am able to do as I wish. It is all thanks to you.
You are mistaken.
It is not for you. If not for you, I would still be a tree. It is I who must thank you.
I don't know, it seemed like a pretty good deal. You'd live for hundreds of years, watching the world go by as a tree. No scene, no evidence, yeah. No, it's definitely a good idea, burning the house down to try and cover up the scene and the lack of the body and stuff like that. And try and prevent anyone from investigating further.
Hehe. Hmm? If we can argue about who is more grateful to have met whom, I believe we are happy indeed. Yes, yes, you were right, my dear.
So the two ladies set out on a grand adventure. They journeyed to distant lands and saw many new things, met many new people. It was the trip of a lifetime. And once they found themselves sated of the world and their travels were through.
Are you quite sure that the recipe calls for these small peppers? I do not recall such a thing.
Aw, this is cute.
I am sure, my love. Ah.
You can make as many adorable noises as you want. I shall not relent. One day you will have to get used to eating dishes with some spice.
Huh. And no saying, only a kiss from you can relieve my sore tongue, either. I would never.
Though she was quite sure that she had. At least once or twice. Perhaps the two of them are still there now. Living happily ever after. Though we may journey many miles, I know well where my true home lies. By your side where I remain, to watch with you every sunrise. Truly free. End.
Well then. Yep. It was called Truly Free, so I'm guessing that might be the true end. I'm glad we found it. Hang on, let me move that around. Is there any... There's one guide available for the endings, but there's no achievements to tell us if we've unlocked everything. Let's hang on, let's have a look back at the extras. Oh, it's created with Ren'Py. Art book. That's available as a DLC. They're good. Oh, here we go. So we have 3 out of 8 endings. So we've got quite a few to collect yet. Characters: Cassidy, Elowen. And I guess this is the artist writing about them. Got music. And gallery. Oh, and we've got one locked image there. Let's have a look at the images we've got so far. There's Elowen sitting under the tree. Oh, I see. It's like a set. Okay, that's interesting. All their different emotions. Hang on. There we go. That's better. Let's go full resolution. Okay, full resolution. There we go. And both blushing with mouths open. Very cute. Here's what happens when things take a turn for the worst. Oh, and there's a Cassidy regretting her decisions. And yep, here we go. Here's her fading away after wasting all her days. I'm not sure I remember getting that picture. And that's the menu picture, I believe. Oh, who is this back here? With a bow and arrow. I'm guessing this must be Alexander, our brother. I did say that we didn't want to get every possible ending. That's a weird picture too. I'm pretty sure we didn't see any of that in the story. Interesting. We got 72% game completion. We did have quite a concerning content warning. So the content warning was for violence, graphic depictions of death and gore, homophobia, incestophilia, codependency. I guess the homophobia is the fact that we've been banished for liking women. Yeah, I guess the depictions of death were somewhat graphic. They weren't as bad as I was fearing. Incestophilia. We haven't ended up seeing our brother yet. We haven't had to deal with that. Do we want to keep going to collect all the endings? I think we kind of do. I feel like this game hasn't been too extreme. Hang on, and codependency. Let's go back to... what was it? Extras?
What were the endings? There we are. Okay, a double-edged thorn, too late into your arms, the shadow's grasp, the story unfinished, and together we are eternal. None of those sound too incesty. Like, I don't think we can end up with our brother, hopefully. But let's take a quick break. I'll look up the guides, and we'll try and go for some other endings, shall we? Return, and we'll start a new game. When cold, cruel destiny has thee within her grasp, thou may endeavor bravely, dear, to change thy past. But fate cares not what twisted road you choose to take. You dance atop her palm with every choice you make. Day 1. It was a morning like any other. A morning we will skip through.
A stone's throw? How can that be?
That's Elowen saying she lives only a stone's throw from the wisteria tree we love. Let's skip ahead. The disparity between Elowen's indifferent expression and the biting tone of her voice made Cassidy's heart ache. So now we're supposed to say she must have had a bad experience? Which we've also read before, so we'll skip through that.
Oh dear, she may have mistaken my meaning. I was only trying to cover up my embarrassment.
Then okay, so last time we said that is not necessary. This time we're gonna think that maybe Elowen was joking.
On second thought, was that perhaps a joke? Hee hee.
You look much better with a smile.
As do you. Still, how curious it is for us to be meeting here again.
You come here often. I live nearby. What is curious about it?
I'm merely saying that it's serendipitous. It must be fate.
Fate has nothing to do with it, I assure you.
Oh, but it's so much more romantic to think of it as fate.
I can think of nothing less romantic than fate. Perhaps this is something not yet possible for you to understand.
Don't speak as though you're much older and wiser than me.
Elowen laughed a little.
How old are you, anyway?
How old do you think? Cassidy stared at Elowen, gazing deeply into her eyes, as if she might find the other woman's secrets there. We should save here as well, apparently. Let's go with save 1 there on page 2. Remember that, page 2, save 1.
Older than I first thought, perhaps.
A wise answer. Elowen tipped her head slightly, the motion seeming indicate a desire to walk on. Cassidy was only too happy to comply. Let me just adjust my seat a bit. Together, the two women strolled. Their time together was marked by a companionable silence. Okay, let's skip through all of this. We saw some feet again. Cassidy could not hide her surprise at Elowen's poisonous choice of words, nor could she hide her sudden tears. Now we're supposed to pick... Oh wait, no, we don't want dining as lovers do. We want to pick excuse me. We picked It's Not Like That last time.
I do not appreciate your tone.
I notice you do not disagree with me, however.
I most decidedly do. You don't understand how much my brother cares for me.
You are correct in at least one thing there. Cassidy angrily dried her tears. Elowen looked out the window.
It has gotten dark. Oh my, how rude of me. I've not offered you any tea or any refreshment.
Do not trouble yourself on my account. That's a weird kind of change in tone.
I must away. I did not mean to impose for so long. You are hardly an imposition.
This is a rather rapid change of tone.
You are kind and good.
Cassidy's face lit up.
Kind and good things do not survive long in a world such as ours.
And just as quickly as it had come, a sudden rush of delight left her. Bowing her head, the other woman was out the door and gone, leaving hurt and confusion in her wake.
I have to believe that Alexander loves me. If not, what will become of me?
When she looked out the window to glimpse the same view that Elowin had just beheld, what Cassidy saw before her was but bleak uncertainty. No, it was the view outside the window. It wasn't bleak uncertainty. Without wisdom or experience, storms shall ill-weathered be. But when you are nearby, dear one, no storms can bother me. Day 3. Let's skip ahead. The brother of her memory, a kind boy, was rather stiff and particularly mindful of decorum. Following the events of the previous evening, Cassidy felt compelled to rewrite her half-finished letter. Now we get to pick between I want Alexander to see me at my best or not that Alexander would care. We're supposed to pick not that Alexander would care.
Not that Alexander will care either way. I'm sure he's too busy to even read my letters through.
Okay, skip. Cassidy finished the letter without much of a fuss. She wrote briefly of Elowin, a passerby, helping her find firewood. Oh, that is a different change. Previously, the letter we wrote to Alexander in the first part of the game, we did not mention Elowin at all. That would definitely pique Alexander's interest, maybe prompt him to come out here. Most of the contents, however, were in regards to the book she had recently finished.
Perhaps this will encourage my dear brother to send me more.
When Cassidy looked out the window, she realized the sun had started to set.
Oh dear, I was revising for so long. Silly me.
She folded up her letter and placed it in an envelope, sealing it with the royal wax seal she was given. She stood and stretched her arms above her head.
I have hardly moved all day. This is no good.
And I believe we see, we see, Elowin kind of hanging around outside. Let's skip on ahead. We've invited her in, but she does not eat. And now we are supposed to ask, wonder why she does not eat. Before we'd suppose she would already eaten, trying to be as generous in our assumptions as possible.
I wonder why she does not eat. Perhaps these are not to her taste? It seems a waste when I saved these crackers purposely in order to be a good hostess when next she came.
Though she was confused, Cassidy quietly ate a cracker or two before putting the tray away. The two women talked pleasantries for some time, though it became rather apparent that Elowin's attention lay elsewhere.
Is everything quite all right?
Why do you ask?
You seem somewhat reserved. That is, more than usual.
Okay, now we're gonna have a fight.
It's not so terrible. This cottage is lovely. It's a good thing to be among nature like this.
How can you be so positive?
What?
You speak so fondly of your brother,
When he is the one who exiled you. who left you here to rot in isolation. It's not like that, Eowyn. What part of what I said is false? Tell me. It's not that simple. It's not Alexander's fault. As a result of your dear Alexander's intervention, you were exiled, were you not? Who's to say he was not responsible for the unfavorable vote in the first place? Why would he do that? What would he have to gain? It is not my brother's fault. He could have let them kill me, but I am alive thanks to him. I previously stated my belief that you were kind and good. I have now revised my opinion. You are a blind fool. As I am mute, you are blind. Altogether too blind in the selfish ways of the world. What is your meaning? It is nothing. Believe in your brother all you wish, but you cannot deny that there is a truth to what I've said.
Eowyn rose from her seat in one swift movement, and then headed for the door.
Good night, Princess. I am Princess no longer. Mock me not, I beg you.
Just like that, she was gone, disappeared into the dark. Cassidy wrapped her arms around her torso, hugging herself for comfort in the wake of Eowyn's sudden indignant anger. Feeling comfort none, the former princess squeezed her eyes shut.
Oh, Alexander, if only she knew you as I do, then she would understand.
There is a treasure that can't be bought, no matter how long it may be sought. It is something priceless yet free. I speak, of course, of an apology. Day 4. Okay. Let's skip on ahead. Cassidy was puzzled both at herself and at Eowyn's odd behavior. What a shock that was. What a twist. Then she remembered the sentence about marriage.
I don't want to marry. I've never considered marriage, even before my exile. Can a noble or a royal from another nation be content with a wife who has been living in the woods? Can I even be content myself in such a marriage?
The letter did not raise her spirits as much as letters from Alexander usually did. The implication of it weighed on her. Okay, zoom on ahead.
Poisonous? Are you sure?
I have no doubt. I have lived in these woods for a long time. Skip on ahead.
She still isn't eating anything. She had plenty of tea earlier, but... Could it be that she's foreign? Perhaps she's too polite to say it's not to her taste.
Eowyn, unaware of being observed so directly, delicately sipped a glass of water.
Are you full?
I am satisfied.
How can you be when you didn't eat anything?
Ara, ara.
Hi, Astrid.
You're glad to see that the one without a voice is not me? You're making me blush, Astrid. But yes, we are playing without a voice. A game with a rather strong content warning. But hasn't proven too bad, and we're now trying to get every ending, so... I'm not sure how far the incest is going to go in this game, but I don't think we're going to end up with it. I think we're going to have to fight off our creepy brother, but that's about it. I don't think that this game's going to go too far into these awful territories. So this is the beautiful forest lady. We've gotten one really good ending so far, where we ended up saving this lady from like a curse that she's under, and then going to travel the world with her and end up coming back to live in this cottage and have a happy ever after. We've also had a bad ending where she kills us and eats our heart. Not really sure why she did that. She's half wisteria tree, half human. I guess that's the other option for her to survive or break her curse. Not fully explained, but I guess that's the implication. And what other endings have we had? We've had one where she turns to dust. And yeah, I think that's the 3 endings we've gotten so far. We are now trying for ending 2, a double-edged thorn. Nah, women just do that sometimes. It's cool.
I am simply not hungry at this very moment. I see.
We're an exiled princess. Forced to live alone in the woods. Hey, Sungets, how you been? And how's your week been, Sungets and Astrid? And how's your Friday going? And anything special planned for the weekend?
I see.
Her tone left no room for argument. After dinner, Cassidy cleared away the plates and things away and began to get the room ready for sleep. Oh, this is where we sleep with her. Not in the biblical sense. Today is the last day of your week-long break you've been taking. How's that been for you? How has it been taking a break from it all? Everything has been frozen, so you've just been keeping warm? Fair enough, yeah. Stay safe out there. I've heard some pretty crazy stuff about, like, wind chills and stuff, as of late getting down to, like, 45 degrees in some areas. I don't know if it's that bad where you are, Sungets, but... Do you think you definitely needed it? Well, that's good. I myself haven't been going through a great time of it. I've been going through something of a, depression these last few days. Nothing serious and nothing caused by anything, just straight up just, one of those times where the brain's chemical balance is suddenly wrong for no real reason. But I think I'm on the mend now. And streaming always brings me a great deal of joy. It's always interesting to be playing these games that I would probably never touch if I didn't force myself to stream like this. It's always a joy, especially to share them with my friends like this. And thank you for those hearts, Sungats. Right, where are we? The cottage was not large. Oh yeah, we're about to go to sleep with this lady. It's very cute when they sleep together.
I would gladly sleep on the divan or the ground. I am not choosy. Oh, that won't do at all. You're a guest.
Cassidy gulped. Truth be told, she had one other, much more preferable arrangement in mind.
We could share the bed. There's room enough for 2.
There really isn't room enough for 2 people in this bed. That's the bed right here behind us. You're going to see how small this bed is for 2 people.
I notice you do not offer to sleep on the divan. Ah.
Struck by her own lack of graciousness, Cassidy bit her lip, cowed into silence.
I am only teasing. If you do not mind being so snug, I will be happy to share the space with you. Nothing would please me more than to be close to you. I mean, yes. Wonderful. I shall fetch another pillow then.
She flew out of the room to retrieve a spare pillow from the closet, face burning with embarrassment. See, there is not enough room for 2 people in this bed. There's not even enough room for 2 pillows side by side.
Do you have enough space? You're not too cramped? I am fine. Truth be told, I do not mind the proximity.
There was a faraway look in Elowin's eyes. So, what we've learned from the true end, well, I say true ending, from the one good ending we've gotten, is that Elowin is actually a wisteria tree who Cassidy here used to go and, like, spend all her time around and rant to and sing songs around and stuff. And Elowin, the wisteria tree, fell in love with Cassidy, the exiled princess. And then some kind of demon or something came and gave a bargain where she would be turned into a human for 7 days, but she had to have Cassidy fall in love with her within those 7 days. Cassidy doesn't know this yet. So, Elowin has actually been in love with Cassidy since before we even met her. And, yeah. So that's kind of the situation going on here to unlock some of the more subtext that's going on in this scene.
I'd been alone for so long until you came. How did you live here in the forest? Where is your family? Oh,
We're supposed to say, why the hesitation?
it's a simple question, is it not? Why does she have such trouble talking about it? Though I suppose my own situation was not so simple to speak of. Has your family gone away?
Elowin, with her mouth in a grim straight line, stared at Cassidy.
It is a trying subject. I am not quite sure where to begin.
She took a deep breath.
I've lived here all my life. Once I was not alone, but
Elowin paused and sighed.
I once had siblings. They have long since departed, so I don't really have family here anymore. Others have come and gone, as I said, but I could not relate to them.
'Cause you was a tree!
I watched them from afar, without entering their lives, and did not mourn them when they left mine. And so the years went by. You'll never be alone again.
Elowin's eyes widened. Cassidy thought she might start crying, but she only smiled sadly.
I see.
Cassidy snuggled just a bit closer to the other woman, as if to show meaning through actions where words might fail. And so they passed the night together, in pleasant company and warm conversation. When the sunshine blazes down, I soon begin to wish for rain. But when you've gone away, my dear, I soon long for the sun again. Day 6.
Now, it says that the next thing we need to say is no, but I'm not sure what we're saying no to. She's gone in the morning. Let's skip on ahead.
Ah, right, writing Alexander, our brother who exiled us, who has some somewhat improper feelings towards us. And it's certainly some shitty feelings towards our habits with women, our desires that we've had with our handmaidens before.
A lot has happened. Perhaps I should write Alexander a letter?
No. She shook her head.
That can wait. I'm more worried about what Elowin is up to now.
Okay, let's skip on ahead to Elowin is Strange. Oh no, she's thinking about the wisteria tree.
I wonder if she's there. I wonder if she's there now, somewhere in the forest.
She passed the rest of the day peacefully, but with a sense of unease.
And oddest of all, where did Elowin come from? Why was she alone? She still had no satisfactory answer. And oddest of all, I still have never seen her eat. Thinking it all over,
And we're supposed to say, Elowin is strange.
she is rather strange. Then again, there is nothing normal about my situation either. This only means that I have more things to discover about her in the future.
Cassidy shook her head. Even if Elowin was a tad strange, Cassidy knew that there was more to her than that. Wasn't there?
She's capable of joking, though she does not do it often. Her smile is so precious. She can be blunt, perhaps, but I believe she means well.
Remembering the last several days. ... Presently, there was a knock at the door, startling Cassidy out of her deep thoughts. It was a short knock, a signal for a letter not accompanying a box.
A letter? So soon after the last?
The letter brought another thought to Cassidy. Oh, we're also supposed to save here. So this is... hang on, we're supposed to save 3? Where's save 2? I am confusion. Why did I not save 2? because I loaded one. Oh, right, because I don't need to do Dining as Lovers Do. Or do I? Okay, well, we'll save 3. Trying to figure out how this guide works. Okay. The letter brought another thought to Cassidy.
If I leave here, if one day Alexander allows me to leave, what else awaits me? Is a political marriage? Marriage. A political marriage. Is a political marriage truly my only means of escape? If I can be useful to the kingdom in any way, is that better? Will my life no longer be considered a waste? Alexander.
Okay, so we've saved in 3. And now we're supposed to select, I will trust in you and wait. She knew the truth, perhaps, yet she was afraid to accept it. Without her love for her brother, her loyalty to her kingdom, she was nothing.
Alexander, I trust you will do what's best for me and for Veramir. I will await your decision.
Excuse me for there. Veramir is the name of the country that we were exiled from, the name of the country that we're the princess of. She could not think of Elowen, however, without feeling a twinge of guilt. She let out a long sigh. Her thoughts had taken her on a not-so-merry chase.
If I dwell on these thoughts, there will be no end to them.
She brewed herself a cup of tea to calm her nerves and began reading a new book. From time to time, her eyes went, somewhat nervously, to the window. And so, evening fell. Cassidy considered going for a walk, but decided against it. Her foray into her own thoughts had left a shiver running down her spine.
Perhaps Elowen needed some time to herself. Perhaps I ought to take some as well.
And so she resolved not to seek the other woman out this day.
Let's see. Maybe I'll have some tea.
She turned and was about to head into the kitchen when the front door slammed open. The exiled princess whirled around in alarm. Before her was... Here she is. It's our girl. Looking kinda strange. She got booby branches.
Elowen?
Cassidy. It was the first time Elowen had said her name. Normally, Cassidy would be overjoyed to hear it up on Elowen's lips. Yet the Elowen before her now... kinda bushy? could only be described as a monster.
What has happened to you?
Elowen turned and caught a glimpse of her own reflection in the window.
That is not important. You must away. It is not safe. What?
Horrified by both the implications and by Elowen's appearance, she took a few steps backward. You love seeing a bushy bombshell walking towards you? Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that... I don't know if I'd find this as monstrous as the game wants me to believe this looks. The booby branches and the shoulder branch would be a little creepy and concerning to me, and the thorns look scary. But other than that, you got some black sclera and some pointy ears. Those are pretty interesting. Maybe the black sclera would look pretty creepy in real life. I'm thinking of like those guys who like have tattooed their own sclera. And they would be pretty confronting to see if you had no like forewarning. So Elowen's taking Cassidy's taking a few steps backwards away from Elowen.
Cassidy, are you hearing what I say? You must leave here immediately. Come with me. I will keep you safe. You? Keep me safe?
She retreated further.
Looking like that? No. What am I saying? I've angered her. She's angry.
Cassidy turned and ran to the last few steps into the kitchen. Elowen was fast on her heels, but Cassidy knew her own house well. There had to be something she could use as a weapon. Something to defend herself with. Cassidy! The former princess's hand closed around the handle of a knife, which she brandished in front of her.
Don't come any closer, Oral.
But Elowen's momentum could not be stopped. She rushed forward. There was a dreadful sound, and then the shock of the situation overpowered her consciousness, and Cassidy knew no more. Elowen awoke slowly in the lingering evening night, her belly burning with the sting of a wound. Nearby, someone was whispering to themselves over and over.
Not just a harlot, but a murderess. Not just a harlot, but a murderess.
There was a strange human just outside the kitchen window.
Where?
It was then that Elowen finally noticed Cassidy, lying in a heap on the floor, 3 arrows protruding from her back.
Cassidy, you're dead.
Wait, so we were colliding with a knife, but then somehow ended up getting shot in the back? That's, quite a twist.
Dead. Dead!
The hapless archer was not spared. Yet the consumption of his heart did nothing to heal Elowen. There was only one heart that would lift her curse, and she had no desire now to take it. Oh man, that would suck. The woman you've done everything for, like you've turned into a human for, gets killed by someone else. Yeah, you wouldn't bother trying to save yourself. Elowen closed her eyes and prayed to the capricious gods for death to take her back to Cassidy's side. Good intentions can be led astray. Doubt and fear can a pure heart sway. A double-edged thorn. End. Interesting. So who shot Cassidy in the back? Okay, so that was ending 2, a double-edged thorn. We've done ending 3, ash to ash. That's where we kind of wait it out. We lock Elowen outside, and Elowen waits out her final night, rather, and in the morning turns to dust. Now we want... Oh, okay, so we want to do... Oh, okay, this is going to be hard. So ending 4, we need to load 4, which is made during the run-through of ending 3, which we need to do load 2, which is done during save 2. Okay. We don't have save 2, so let's go to load save 1. Gosh, it's a bit confusing. So we skip through all this. And now we do... It's not like that. Not that Alexander would care. Skip through that. I suppose she's already eaten. I'm sure she had her reasons. How thoughtful. How do you know so much? And now I believe we're going to sleep together. And finally, perhaps she cannot say. And we save here. And that makes save 2. Okay, now we load save 2 to do... Okay, so now we go down to ending 3. A bit complicated. It makes sense if you were doing it all in one run, but because we were trying to... We've already done like 3 endings. I was trying to skip some. But it seems we cannot. Okay. Skip. Perhaps I should write Alexander a letter? Yes. Skip. I wonder if she is there? Elowen is strange. And now we save. And this will be save 4. Return. So we're now in save 4. We're going for ending 4, too late into your arms, which is... Next thing we say is... Remembering the last several days. Oh! That is new. We've done... Elowen is truly monstrous. Blank. And Elowen cares for me. We tried all 3 of those, but we ended up getting, the worst ending, where Elowen kills us and eats our heart. Several times. From those endings, because we trapped ourselves already by that point. I do want to click on Elowen is kind, because we haven't seen that option before, but I'm assuming we'll do it at a different point? Or maybe we won't. I don't see that choice in any of the other endings. Oh, I really want to click Elowen is kind. Where will that take us? Okay, let's try it. Let's try Elowen is kind. Cassidy thought of the letter she had written and sent to Alexander only yesterday.
If I leave here, if one day Alexander allows me to leave, what else awaits me? Is a political marriage truly my only means of escape?
And now we're supposed to say, I will trust in you and wait, Alexander, O brother of mine. Without her love for her brother, her loyalty to her kingdom, she was nothing. Calming herself, looking out the window. And so evening fell. Cassidy was sitting at the divan, a warm cup of tea in hand as she reread Alexander's letter. His letters always gave her some comfort.
Cassidy.
Cassidy froze. Could it be? She looked up to see who had addressed her.
Elowen.
There is a large army approaching. They are very nearly here, but Elowen hasn't shown up in her monster form like she did every other time.
An army?
Cassidy giggled, shaking off her nervousness.
There must be a training exercise. Or a war in a neighboring country. They wear your clothes. Did your brother mention nothing in his letters? No, nothing. But there is nothing to fear. If they wear my kingdom's colors, as you say, surely they are here to aid me. Fully armed? Yes. My brother loves me, you see.
Cassidy's voice shook as she desperately tried to convince both Elowen and herself. She was worthy of love, of her brother's love, and... You will not come with me. It was a question phrased as an absolute. Elowen already knew the answer.
I have no reason to. I have everything I need right here.
And then she heard it. The awful sound of steel boots trampling the flowers, the forest. She who had been present for any number of military training exercises could not mistake the sound of an army's march. But even Cassidy could not have predicted who would be leading them. Aha! At last we meet.
Ah!
The first emotion she felt was pure joy. She was happy to see her brother once more.
I thought that we could never meet again, but here he is.
Alexander's eyes flicked over to Elowen. Without even attempting to mask it, he looked her over from head to toe. He did not look at all pleased. You are continually surprising me, sister. Sent into exile, and yet you continue to repeat your same sins. Lurk mode? Okay, thanks for the lurk, Sungats. Always appreciate it. Always love seeing you around here.
No, you're mistaken.
I believe not. I trusted you once. You could have told me anything, and I would have believed. But you have chosen to repay my love with dishonor time and time again. You are a danger to our kingdom, an exploitable weakness. Worse, you are a sinner of the highest order.
Alexander!
Tempt me not into sin. I am deaf to your honeyed words. As your brother, as the one who entered this world with you, it falls to me to remove you from it. This is the last act of my love.
No.
Elowen reacted faster. With superhuman speed, she rushed in front of Cassidy to shield her from her brother's sword. But despite his delicate looks, Alexander was skilled with the blade. All Elowen's attempt earned the privilege of being impaled, at the same time as the former princess. Ooh, double penetration. The sword pierced through them both. As her consciousness faded, Cassidy watched Elowen's body dissolve into dust and withered petals. Wisteria petals. So you tempted even a forest spirit with your salacious ways. But such demons do not have souls. She cannot follow you. Worry not, dear sister. One day I will join you, and we shall never be parted again. She could not tell if what she felt was despair or ecstasy. They say that love is blind, yet clearly I saw you. You said that you loved me, but that was never true. So it would seem, my dear, that blind love is deaf, too. Too late into your arms. End. Okay, that was ending 4. Ending 5 just says... doesn't actually tell me what's low. It's the Shadow's Grasp. It begins with, how can that be? How can that be? Where's the last time we saw that? Oh, how can that be? Oh, that's the very... oh, right, so we don't load anything. We can do ending 5 from the very beginning. Okay, we'll start a new game then. When cold, cruel destiny has thee within her grasp, thou may endeavor bravely, dear, to change thy path. But fate cares not which twisted road you choose to take. You dance atop her palm with every choice you make. Day 1. Okay, skip.
A stone's throw? A stone's throw?
Why does my voice sound so weird when I say that?
A stone's throw?
Thoreau? Thoreau? Sound like a bird. How can that be? Skip. She must have had a bad experience. That is not necessary. There we go. Sorry, I had to fix my headset. Keeps going deaf in one ear. Need to replace it soon. Skip. Excuse me? This is when we have a fight? Okay, now we say, I want Alexander to see me at my best.
I do not wish to disappoint him or bore him with minutiae.
Minutiae? Minutia.
My original draft.
She sighed, recalling the contents of the now ripped-up pages.
I pined far too much. I would never whine, of course, but my words were drawing near that. I only...
She was afraid to admit, even to herself, how much she missed her brother. With flowing eloquence, Cassidy composed a letter, sure to show her brother all the deference he was owed.
To my dear Alexander, I hope this letter finds you well, dearest brother. I have been utterly depressed awaiting your next letter. My days here are so dull, you see. I eat, sleep, and read books. The only thing that has brightened my days has been the acquaintance of a young woman who lives nearby. Now, I remember well your urgings to keep my presence a secret. I have not gone into the nearby town whatsoever, but it seems this woman lives alone, same as me. And we are not so close, merely acquaintances. Surely you will not deny me all human contact.
It seems like a really bad idea to mention you've met a young woman, considering why your brother sent you into exile in the first place. You could remove any part of that sentence. Like, you could remove the fact she was a woman, and the fact she's young would probably, like, do a lot more to, calm your brother down. She could not for a moment forget the person responsible for her comfortable lifestyle now.
Please, never forget your poor sister, who loves you so much. Done.
When Cassidy looked out the window, she realized that the sun had started to set.
Oh dear, I was revising for so long? Silly me.
Now we're going to put the letter under the door. Finally, she gave the front of the envelope a kiss before addressing it to Alexander. She stood and stretched her arms above her head.
I've hardly moved all day. That is no good.
Now we're going to meet Elowin outside. Just kind of lurking about. Let me take a drink. We're going to leave the letter under there. Yeah, Elowin's out the front. Then we're going to invite her in, but she doesn't eat. Skip ahead. And we're supposed to wonder why she does not eat.
I wonder why she doesn't eat. Perhaps these are not to her taste.
I was not wrong when I said this place is like a jail. Why do you leave her alone when he clearly has enough resources to take care of you? Cassidy shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Elowin's eyes seemed not to look at her so much as bore into her soul. Cassidy felt judged and deemed unworthy, though she had not yet responded to Elowin's inquiry. No matter how she phrased it in her head, it sounded awful.
My brother put me here for my own safety.
She took a deep breath.
When you called me princess earlier, you were not far off the mark. I once was a princess, though I am no longer. After my father, the king's death, I was to inherit the throne, but our barons in parliament voted no confidence. Worse,
I was then handed trumped-up charges of treason. Is that what you're calling it? And now, yeah, they end up having a fight, and Elowin leaves, and I believe this is the day after? Cassidy was puzzled, both at herself and at Elowin's odd behavior. And we're supposed to say, what a shock that was.
What a shock that was. I thought her a refined, elegant personage, but her rage was palpable and quite unseemly.
And then we get another letter where our brother talks about marrying us off.
How thoughtful.
And then we're going to go find... Oh, hang on.
Of course I must be useful to the kingdom somehow. Why else would I be alive? If I can be of use, even as a disgraced princess.
Cassidy sighed. She would not, could not finish that thought. Suddenly, Cassidy heard a rustling nearby. She looked up from her letter and saw Elowin standing a few feet away.
Elowin! Princess. I am no longer a princess. Just because you no longer live in a castle does not mean you are no longer a princess.
Cassidy was reminded of the word marriage once again. Elowin was right. She was still considered a princess, insofar as a princess could be useful. A long silence passed between them. Both were conscious, no doubt, of the argument that had transpired between them, an argument they had not yet resolved. Okay, so this time, Elowen comes to us, whereas I believe in previous occasions after the argument, we go find Elowen, and then we wander through the forest and find some poisonous plants, I think, after we apologize. And
I am sorry.
Elowen's eyes widened almost imperceptibly, but Cassidy, staring into the other woman's face as she was, took note.
I should not have burdened you with my circumstances to begin with.
Skipping on. Poisonous. Are you sure? And then next, I think, is going to be the sleeping together scene.
How did you come to live here in the forest? Where is your family?
Nothing.
Oh.
And now, finally, why the hesitation?
It's a simple question, is it not? Why does she have such trouble talking about it? Though I suppose my own situation was not so simple to speak of. Has your family gone away?
Elowen, with her mouth in a grim straight line, stared at Cassidy.
It is a trying subject. I'm not quite sure where to begin.
Okay, yeah. This is all about the fact that there's only trees, all your family's gone away. Couldn't relate to other people because you were a tree. Cassidy snuggled just a little bit closer to the other woman, as if to show meaning through actions where words might fail. And so they passed the night together, in pleasant company, and warm conversation. When the sunshine blazes down, I soon begin to wish for rain. But when you've gone away, my dear, I soon long for the sun again. Day 6.
Now, what is going to happen now?
Cassidy awoke alone, with a cold space beside her.
Again, she's gone in the morning. What could she be doing so early? It's highly suspect.
She could no longer ignore the gnawing feeling of dread. Perhaps she would ask Elowen upon their next meeting.
I will have to be careful with the rest of my supplies. The next shipment is a while away yet. I cannot feast with Elowen too often. That being said, it's not as if she really eats when she's with me.
She yawned and slowly pulled herself out of bed. With or without Elowen, she would have to get on with her day. When evening fell, Cassidy decided to go on a walk. It felt stifling somehow to stay home alone after the night she and Elowen had shared.
Some exposure to nature will do me good. It would not do well to dwell on my thoughts for too long. They are too liable to grow dark.
Of course, part of her held out hope that she'd run into Elowen again. Cassidy shut the door on her cottage and stepped out into the forest.
It would be nice to show Alexander this view. Then again, there's no reason why he would come here, is there? At least now I have Elowen's company to look forward to.
Suddenly, Cassidy felt a sharp pain in her back.
What?
Then she felt her body start to crumple.
How strange. Why can I not remain standing?
Shot in the back. As she fell to the ground, she craned her neck just enough to see the arrow protruding from her back. And, in the clearing just behind her, an archer, one who bore the colors of Verimir. Your king sends his regards to his whore of a sister, who only played him false and toyed with his feelings. Oh, so it's just some random assassin who shoots us in the back? Okay. She had no time to process these hissed words.
Alexander. Elowen.
A sister loved her brother, but there were flowers she loved more. Her brother loved the notion of her, but he was jealous to his core. The Shadow's Grasp. End.
Okay then, so that is ending 5. Now, ending 6, we load save 3. Don't remember, what was save 3 from? Oh, that's where we got a double-edged sword. So we... didn't write Alexander a letter in this save. And we said Elowen is merely strange, not unearthly. But we also aren't sure how we feel about Elowen. We thought back on Elowen these past few days, and we said ... So we didn't call her a monster, but we also didn't say that she loves us. So we're loading from there. The letter brought another thought to Cassidy. Skip. And now we are going to ask ourselves, did Alexander ever truly love us? Alexander, did you ever truly love me? Is the precious younger brother that I once knew completely gone? Are you truly the one who has been writing me these letters?
One negative thought spiraled into a dozen. She let out a long sigh. Her thoughts had taken her on a not-so-merry chase.
If I dwell on these thoughts, there will be no end to them.
She brewed herself a cup of tea to calm her nerves and began reading a new book. From time to time, her eyes went, somewhat nervously, to the window. And so, evening fell. And the rest of the story was lost to time.
Huh?
Did King Alexander completely erase his sister from history? And what of the maiden Elowen? It would forever remain a mystery. Perhaps you, too, will soon forget.
What? What the fuck kind of shitty ending is that? That's the worst ending I've seen. That's not an ending. Why would you include that? You don't need to include that. You could have had just 7 endings. That is needless padding. I do not like that at all. That is a terrible ending. It just trails off. Wow, that really irks me. Because, I'm not paying attention to how many endings there have. Like, if it said on the box, there are 7 endings instead of 8, I'm not buying it for the number of endings. I'm buying it for the quality of the story. And that is the lowest possible quality, because there isn't a story there. You've ended it without an ending. I don't even know why it just kind of trailed off there. It wasn't like a... It was just kind of like a... Well, that's enough for now. Tune in next time. Right then, let's go for ending 7. So we're supposed to load 2. What is 2 from? Where did we save 2? Okay. Save 2 is from Dining as Lovers Do. So we're sleeping now. We thought Elowen was joking. We don't think Alexander would care. We suppose she's already eaten. Sure, she's had her reasons. Although we do think that Alexander is being thoughtful when he mentions marrying us off. And we also have just thought that perhaps Elowen can't say about why she has no family. And now, I believe, after this, we are going to wonder if we should write Alexander a letter. So this is save 2. Ending 7. Still not writing Alexander a letter. She shook her head. That can wait. Now we're going to think about whether Elowen is at the wisteria tree. Oh, no, wait, no, I don't need to do this ending.
Sorry. This is... Ending 7 is truly free. We already did that. That's the good ending we got. Let me load that again. So save 2. So now we're doing ending 8, the final ending. Skip ahead. This time we're asking ourselves, should we write Alexandra a letter? This time we say yes.
It is important that my brother knows what goes on in my life.
After finishing her breakfast, she set herself to the task of writing to Alexander as usual. Yet her heart was not all in it. Her handwriting was sloppy. Though always lonesome before, the former princess's life now felt so much more emptier without Elowen's presence. Though she should be accustomed to such solitude, she could barely concentrate on her usual chores.
To think that a few days would change a person so.
In a lull in her activities, Cassidy's gaze went to the window. Deep in the forest, a beloved wisteria tree stood. She could see it clearly in her mind's eye.
I wonder if she is there. I wonder if she's there now, somewhere in the forest.
She passed the rest of her day peacefully, but with a sense of unease. The next day came, and still no Elowen. Cassidy was left with nothing but her own thoughts. And thinking of Elowen perturbed Cassidy greatly. In the last several days, the woman had embedded herself into Cassidy's life like a thorn.
I never expected to become close to another person again.
She thought about Elowen and the things the other woman had said, the hours spent together that were so few, but felt an impossible eternity.
I never did ask about her feet. Why are her toes always curled? Despite how she looks, she must be much older than me. She has a proper way of speaking, and always says she's lived in the forest a long time. And with the intricacy of her clothing and her manners.
Something did not quite add up. Elowen did not seem to like people much. Certainly it did not seem her presence in the wood, despite how long it had been, was known to many.
Alexander would most probably would not have sent me here if it was known that a beautiful woman was living alone in this very wood.
Where did Elowen come from? Why was she alone? She still had no satisfactory answer. Thinking it all over, Elowen is strange.
She's rather strange. Then again, there's nothing normal about my situation either. This only means that I have more things to discover about her in future.
Cassidy shook her head. If Elowen was a tad strange, Cassidy knew that there was more to her than that. Even if Elowen was a tad strange, Cassidy knew that there was more to her than that. Wasn't there?
She's capable of joking, though she doesn't do it often. Her smile is so precious. She can be blunt, perhaps, but I believe she means well. I care deeply for her, and she...
Remembering the last several days, where we tried Elowen is kind, it seems to do the same effect as Elowen cares for me, but let's go with Elowen cares for me, this time. Cassidy thought of the letter she had written and sent to Alexander only yesterday.
If I leave here, if one day Alexander allows me to leave, what else awaits me? Is a political marriage truly my only means of escape? If I can be useful to the kingdom in any way, is that better? Will my life no longer be considered a waste? Alexander.
And finally, how long must I stay here?
How long must I stay in this forest? Will I forever be here? Atoning for my mistakes?
She let out a long sigh. Her thoughts had taken her on a not-so-merry chase.
If I dwell on these thoughts, there will be no end to them.
She brewed herself a cup of tea to calm her nerves and began reading a new book. From time to time, her eyes went, somewhat nervously, to the window. And so, evening fell. Cassidy took a sip of her tea and then sighed.
I've been dwelling on this all afternoon.
Even so, she could not lie to herself about the source of her concern.
I haven't seen Elowen in nearly 2 days. Such a short time, but it weighs heavily on me.
She looked out the window to the forest. Perhaps Elowen was somewhere out there.
Somewhere out there.
Just as Cassidy was about to act on impulse and seek the other woman out at last, the front door to the cottage slammed open.
I apologize if I have caused you alarm, but I have urgent news.
Here she is, showing up with her booby branches out. The vague notions that Cassidy had been supposing about Elowen. The vague notions that Cassidy had been supposing about Elowen's true nature paled in comparison to the real thing. He was neither a monster or a demon. Of that, Cassidy was certain. Yet despite the fact that such a realization could inspire nothing but fear and disgust, Cassidy felt neither. For, more importantly, the woman standing before her now was undoubtedly Elowen.
What news have you?
Her voice did not quiver.
There is a large army approaching. I believe they may have made camp for the night near here. And I fear they mean you harm. An army? What colors are their banners? Red and gold. So they must be from Veramir. Do not worry. My people would never hurt me.
But Elowen shook her head. I overheard them talking.
They certainly mean to do something terrible.
Elowen looked sincere. She was truly worried.
But even so, could it truly be? What reason would the army have to be here? I know you are loath to trust in a monster such as I. No. No? I'm sorry. That isn't it. And there we have it. Would a true monster ever refer to themselves as one?
Cassidy decided in her heart then and there that Elowen was to be trusted. Even so, there was a contradiction here that bothered her.
I believe you. Truly? Even though I look like this? Yes, I trust you, even so. However, the situation bothers me. I believe you, but I can't believe that the army of my own kingdom would wish me ill. For if they are here, it must surely be because my brother the king sent them. And for Alexander to betray me, I simply cannot believe it.
In her heart, he was always her beloved brother. In her heart, he was always her beloved brother.
Your brother is the one who put you here. Do not forget. How could she have forgotten? How could she have forgotten? How could she have forgotten such an important fact? Cardi. Am I getting tired? Why the hell can't I speak anymore?
How could she have forgotten such an important fact? Cassidy hardly knew.
No, I didn't forget. I simply grew accustomed to this life. You said that they are camped nearby? Yes. Can you take me to them?
Elowen nodded grimly.
I understand. Perhaps that will allow you to come to terms with everything. Even so, I do not relish the pain that doing so will inflict upon you. I am ready,
Cassidy said, clenching her fists. The two women made their way through the forest. Not long ago, they wandered here together. Those had been such carefree days, feeling far more distant in the past than they had right to.
Once this matter is dealt with, we will have those innocent days once more.
Declaring so in her heart, Cassidy followed closely behind Elowen. Soon, they reached the camp. Cassidy and Elowen hid behind trees and in bushes as they approached, careful not to make their presence known. There were at least 24 soldiers camped there. Is this really such a good idea? It doesn't matter if it's a good idea. Orders are orders. But still. The soldiers were talking amongst themselves when a tall figure emerged from a tent. Cassidy would recognize the person anywhere. In her shock and anger, she gripped Elowin's arm tightly. Elowin turned to look at her.
Your brother? She mouthed the words.
Cassidy nodded. I understand it may not seem chivalric to some of you. Worry not. I shall be the one to dispatch my sister. It is my duty. And make no mistake, this is for the good of the kingdom. It will silence the opposition amongst the barons and eliminate our kingdom's one exploitable weakness. Witness. Witness? One exploitable witness? I think that means they meant to write weakness. It may be difficult, but it is the right thing to do. Alexander spoke the words in a calm, cool tone. Dispatch. Eliminate. They were such harsh words, they stuck in Cassidy's mind.
So Alexander came himself. And not to visit, not for my benefit, not even to help me. He came to...
Cassidy was overcome by a feeling she had never felt before in her life. Rage. It was an indignant rage, an all-consuming, angry sort of despair. Once, she had loved him. This was her twin brother, one whom she'd entered the world with. She would have given him anything, except her life. As Cassidy gripped tighter onto Elowin's arm, the other woman began to change. Her appearance softened, became more and more human. Whatever essence was tainting her seemed to be draining away. And instead, that same essence...
So, this was also an option.
Elowin muttered to herself, so softly that the exiled princess did not hear. Then she spoke louder.
Cassidy. Yes? Shall I help you wreak your revenge?
Wreak?
Shall I help you wreak your revenge? Can you? Yes. But you must stay with me, damned as we may become. I would gladly walk through the flames of hell at your side, revenge or no.
It was all Elowin needed to hear, a declaration of love in its own right. She allowed her essence to flow freely now into Cassidy. The pair together began to change form, growing more monstrous, more powerful. The soldiers did not stand a chance against their combined might.
Do you wish to kill him yourself, dear heart? It is perhaps your duty.
On either side of them lay mounds of corpses, but in front lay the greatest prize, King Alexander himself.
No, it is all right, Elowin.
Alexander, in his terror, could not utter a single sound.
I am better than him. Go. Never come here again. As of today, you no longer have a sister, and I no longer have a brother. What? We're letting him go? After all that? I mean, I know he's the king of the kingdom, and maybe killing him would draw more attention than it's worth. But, fucking hell, we become like this demon tree creature, and we're not going to murder him? Honestly, that's way more fucked up than, like, if we murdered him. Like, we murder all the people who were just following orders, because, like, that's their king, right? Who even seem to themselves have reservations about killing the princess. But we let the one guy who was, like, actively set on wanting to kill us, we're gonna let him go? And so the king returned, broken and stumbling, to his kingdom. He would never forget, though none believed him. Even on his deathbed, he continued babbling of beautiful demons. As for Cassidy and Elowin... Goodness, I have no idea how your hair gets so tangled. It is the wind, my love. Is that so? We shall have to teach it a lesson. Demons though we may be, I do not believe we can do anything to the wind. Not with that attitude, dear one.
Decades passed, yet the two of them remained unchanged. It was a freedom, a power that Cassidy had never known. Every day there was more to discover, more delights to find. Most of all, the pair enjoyed learning more about each other.
Cassidy. What is it? Do you... I love you. How do you know I was asking that? Perhaps I was about to ask what you wished to do tomorrow. You most certainly were not. It's all right. I'll tell you as many times as you'd like.
Elowen settled into peaceful happiness, leaning against her beloved. She was utterly secure of Cassidy's feelings, but never tired of hearing them. And even now, without a doubt, those two are still there. Living happily ever after. United in love. You missed something? Yeah, this is the true ending. The true ending. United in love, sharing their hate. These demons live on, laughing at fate. Together, we are eternal. End.
Not princess, but that princess, yes. Okay then. Look, well, I can show you the endings. Where are the endings? Okay, so we got Together We Are Eternal. What happens when I click on this? Oh, I can give you a summary of what happens in the true ending.
The princess's fury transforms her into a demon and forges her path forward. Elowen, in a monstrous form, appears to warn Cassidy. Cassidy recognizes her love, but cannot believe her words. Alexander could not possibly try to kill her. Alexander's the brother who's the king who exiled us. But as Elowen reveals her the truth, Cassidy is overwhelmed with anger. Absorbing the demonic energy from Elowen, Cassidy strikes, and together they kill all the soldiers. They let a terrified Alexander go, Cassidy declaring that they are no longer kin. Together, they spend the rest of their days in the forest as demons, living happily ever after. So they become immortal demons who can live in the forest together forever. But I think it's kind of bullshit that we killed all those soldiers and not killed... We killed all those soldiers, but we didn't let Alexander go. And I can show you the, pictures. Not that. Gallery. So these are all the CGs from the different events and endings. And yes, here we go. Full resolution. There's them doing their hair together as demon trees. And then there's them kissing. Oh, they blush green. That's kind of strange. I guess it's like sap. And, what else do we have? And here's my preferred ending, where Cassidy's love turns Elowen into an actual human. They fake Cassidy's death, go traveling for a while, and then come back to live into old age together, I guess, is what will happen to them. Because they're not immortal trees in this one. Yeah, there's them kissing again. This time as humans. And here's some more art that isn't actually, like, part of the game. I guess it's concept art. This is, like, the cover art. And there's Alexander. But he appears to be holding a bow and arrow in this picture, which is weird, because he never actually brandishes one himself in the actual game. Only, like an assassin he sends brandishes one. I wonder if that was supposed to be Alexander at some point. I assumed that was going to be Alexander until I found out it wasn't him as the assassin. And then there's this strange picture. It's a good picture. But it certainly makes Elowen seem a lot more sinister than she is in most of the endings. Although she's pretty sinister in this ending, where she eats our heart. Well then,
We've got 94% game completion. I'm assuming that means that we are, that, like, there's missing pieces of dialogue that we didn't actually end up saying somewhere, but I'm assuming it's going to be a very small thing. What did the character say? Cassidy. Cassidy, the protagonist, an exiled princess and the eldest child of the Verimir royal family. Cassidy is nice, but rather clueless, and struggles to live on her own due to her pampered upbringing. In terms of the original motive that Without a Voice is based on, Cassidy is technically the human prince for whom Eowyn trades away her voice. Not quite princely, huh? Oh, okay, Without a Voice, of course, they reference the Little Mermaid. Of course, you know, who traded her mermaid half for human legs at the cost of her voice. I love Cassidy very much, and I treasure her pretty dearly. She's also been my avatar since development on Without a Voice started, so 3 years? I think I'm really going to miss her once this game is out. She's very expressive, like an open book, and has a certain charm to her that no one can resist. She's quite popular, with her brother, all her handmaidens, Eowyn, and me included. Maybe a bit too popular for her own good. In 2 of the endings, she finds her true love, and her happy ending though. In Good End 1, I wanted to emphasize the more human ways that she's adopted with Eowyn. Domestic life, cooking, simple, humble clothing are a few examples of this. I think Ponytail Cassidy is really cute, and I love drawing their alternative outfits. And then, let's have a look-see at Eowyn. Eowyn, the mysterious beauty who appears before Cassidy one day. While at a glance she is graceful and beautiful in an otherworldly way, she's also quick to anger and rather self-centered. Sometimes she becomes quiet and a little gloomy when staring out at the woods outside of the cottage windows. Our Little Mermaid. At first glance, she is not as naive and sweet as Cassidy, but the more you get to know her, the more of that side of her shows. She became so infatuated as a tree, not realizing how much of an airhead Cassidy could be, that she gambled with her life. Though, to be fair, trees don't have brains, nor blood, so... Eowyn is really quite mysterious. Even when scripting her expressions, I struggle to pinpoint what emotion she would have at any given moment. Is she saying this sincerely? Is it a joke? Is she actually angry? That being said, I hope that after you finish all the endings, you can go back and hear her true voice. When I got the CG list to draw, I was so excited to get started on Good End 2. Originally, the CG for this featured Eowyn's demon form that you see throughout the game. You can see this original version in the Without a Voice art book. When I was updating the art assets though, I decided I wanted to give her a totally new look that showed that she was a part of nature and not fighting against it. I hope you liked Cassidy's alternate form too. Lionessa, I'm assuming that's the artist who did all of this. So yes, that was Without a Voice. I'm still kind of angry about ending 6 being a non-ending. What a strange thing to put in the game. But yes. All in all, I enjoyed my time with it. It didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought, considering I'd saved this for Bright Day Fridays out of concern for the... Honestly, the incestophilia, if they hadn't put it in the content warning, I wouldn't have thought that much about it. Like, there was subtext there, but it wasn't in any way, like, explicit. I don't think that they really needed to put that content warning there. Anyway, I think that's enough of a stream for now. Let's head on over to Just Chatting. Now I can close the game.